What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 117 of the Taste of Cast, our weekly podcast where we talk about things, react to things, do a bunch of random shit. My name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
Quick reminders, you got a week left to download and play Cities, Skylines, and Farm Simulator 19, both off for free on PlayStation Plus. Make sure to download those, play those, come back at the end of this week for Plus Club. Let us know what we thought of those games. Let you know we thought of them. Also, oddly enough, PlayStation has come out and officially said that Call of Duty World War II will be one of the games for June.
Because it'll be downloadable as of the 26th.
Yeah, early. So that's a weird one. So I don't know if we're going to still get 2 games in June with that. They've done that before. Or if that's one game that's going to be early, the other game will be revealed later and come out later.
Like on time.
Yeah, it's a weird system. I'm sure everyone's super excited for Call of Duty World War II. As a Call of Duty fan, that was a pretty okay one. Not that great.
I mean, I didn't play it, so... Yeah.
Well, we'll be talking about that as well, but make sure to download those fucking games I said to download because you're running out of time to do that. Also, our game of the month is Pagan Online randomly picked. It is a top-down, isometric, action-based RPG fucking Diablo type thing. Play that. And we'll talk about that on Game of the Month. Type in hashtag STLG if you want your comments to be considered to be on Tastecast. We're going to have a segment in this Tastecast where we'll be reading your comments and replying to them. And if you'd like to be a part of that next time, make sure to type in hashtag STLG. I forgot what the fuck it was. I'm looking right at it. We have a Discord link down below. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. And we're on iTunes, Spotify, and the podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. Yeah, so Tastecast, typically start every Tastecast with what we've been playing. My list is very short because I've been playing like 2 games. So I'll just go first. Fuck it. So been playing more Hunt Showdown. I am level 90-something. I have 90-something hours in the game. And I'm getting close to prestiging, which is cool. I'm getting better at the game and better and better. I'm having really good matches. I'm also having real shit matches. I think I ran into my first hacker, which is good. It's only the first one. Also ran into like 2 assholes so far in 90 hours. So the community's pretty decent.
It's a decent ratio,
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. Still love that game. Love it to death. I do plan on hitting 100. I do plan on prestiging. I ran into a level 36th prestige.
Ooh.
Yeah, that guy's put a lot of fucking time into that game.
That's his game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, if you watched my highlights video, which just came out recently, make sure to check that out. There was a dude that I was playing with in there that I think was like 8 prestiges in. And he took it upon himself to take me under his wing and show me the ways of Hunt Showdown while I saved his ass many times and beat the boss for him. And then when he was like, all right, we're gonna go to the extraction. You need to stay close to me, be swift, be quick. And I was like, okay, we're just going northeast. Okay. And I just like ran that way and I ran past him. I'm like, I'll see you there. Don't worry about it. So yeah, I don't run into people that like that very often, but he wasn't a dick, but it was just really funny that he's just like, they're this way, follow me. And I'm like, well, if I see someone, I'll shoot him. Don't worry about it.
Come with me if you want to live.
If I've been playing any game for 90 hours, I would hope I am at least slightly aware of how that game plays.
You have a mild proficiency at least.
Yeah, if you're 90 hours in any game and you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing, I'd be like, wait, why are you playing it?
Which is just idle.
Yeah, you just consider staring at it. Everybody else takes care of everything for you. But yeah, all in all, I could sit here and just gush on that game. I still would definitely grade it like an A minus. I love it. I really hope they add some kind of story element to it because I think that's the one thing this game's missing is something that kind of makes everything make sense, I guess. Also, shout out to it being on PS4 and Xbox right now and has cross-play on those 2 things, not on PC. If you're playing against PC people, you'd be getting fucked big time. But if you play on PS4 or Xbox, you can play together, which is pretty cool. Although there is some problems with the game right now, I guess. Some stairways are invisible. You can still walk up them, but you see right through them. And there's some walls that you can see through, which is kind of annoying. People are talking like it's never going to get fixed. Of course, it'll get fixed. But yeah, that does kind of suck because it's a game that if it can find life on console, that'd be really good. So I would hate those bugs to kill its potential because this game is a game that was overlooked for years, and I feel like right now it has a chance to get the following it deserves, and yeah, so hopefully people enjoy it on console.
That's kind of funny too, because I had kind of brought it up when you had first talked about it booming, years after it come out. Mm-hmm. It seems to be becoming more and more common, and I had kind of said that I feel like that is attributed to just the sheer number of games that exist now, that it takes some games a lot longer to just like catch on at this point.
Well, this game came out by Crytek on Steam on PC only. It's a fucking cowboy game where you're using single action revolvers and lever action, bolt action rifles. It's got monsters. It's graphically intensive, and it's highly competitive. So it already is kind of going like, who's our audience?
Yeah.
And then when it came out, because I bought it when it came out, it took forever to load into a match. That was the biggest thing that killed it for me. And it did not run well. It wasn't optimized very well. Now it runs way better than it did. I mean, it runs on console now. But those loading times are so much better now. Like, that was the biggest thing. When I was trying to get into a match and take I think one time it almost took 20 minutes. I was like, I'm not waiting 20 minutes to get into a match to shoot at people and die instantly and have to wait another 20 minutes to get into a match.
Yeah.
So I refunded it and then fucking forgot about it. And then I heard it picking up fucking Steam, all pun intended, again. And I was like, cool, I'm going to try it out. And I just fucking love it. It's the game that I wanted it to be when I first bought it. So it seems to be finding life again, which is nice. Which is good, because some games don't get that second chance, or they get like a remaster later. But this isn't that kind of game, so
For sure.
it's just been existing. There's 36th prestige people. I guess I think the most prestige you can do is 50 in that game or something like that. So I'm sure somebody's done it.
So they're going for it.
Yeah, for sure. That's fucking bragging rights amongst, I guess, anyone who plays Hunt. But yeah, pick it up. It's definitely worth it. I think it's still on sale right now. Pretty sure. It's like 45% off, which is fantastic. I was jokingly saying, like, how can I buy it again? I want to buy it a second time, just to support them. So, yeah. And then randomly started playing Conan Exiles again. That was also on sale for $20, which is a fucking steal. And for anyone who hasn't been following the channel, we played this for Plus Club.
Yep.
A while ago on PS4. We ended up really liking it.
Oh, yeah.
I think Chris was kind of like, it was pretty good, but like me and you ended up like really liking it. But me and you played together. He played alone, so it's kind of a big difference too.
Yeah, we also played a lot.
We played a lot. I put like 100 hours into it. Yeah, so I played the fuck out of it, and I really enjoyed it on PS4. I thought it was really impressive that they could even run it on there. It looked fine, I thought. It played fine, I thought. It didn't lag, I thought. And the servers ran great, I thought. They do actually on PS4. They should not be able to allow you to make servers run that well on PS4, and they did. So I'm not going to take that from them. But then I play over on PC, and holy shit, that game looks fantastic. Has a dong slider. If you want to see that, Chris is definitely not shy about his. It's like run around looking for Chris. I look over and there's just a guy in like a tribal mask, fucking leather shoulders and sleeves, and then just down below, no pants, just blowing in the wind. And I was like, looking at him, I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, I just killed all these guys over here, and runs over there, and it's just his bare smooth ass running off over there. I'm like, look like some Mad Max shit. It was scary. But yeah, I started playing that, $20. I was like, dude, I actually really liked that game on PS4, and I thought, you know, if I was gonna play on PC, it'd probably be a better experience, and it's fucking awesome. In my first day, kind of dabbling, I made a server. I'll be putting that in the Discord soon, so you guys can join that if you want. But within testing my server, essentially, I put 12 hours into the game. So I sat down, played it for 12 hours yesterday. So definitely still like that game. It was really easy just to do that. Already started building a giant compound. Yeah, I'm getting more ambitious than I got the first time we played it, just because I know that was something that was great, is fucking getting into that game again, knowing everything already. Like, I was able to just fucking leap forward and get things going. Yeah, I'm already working with iron right now. I'm creeping towards steel. have a big sandstone compound I'm working on right next to the area. That's another thing too, is like knowing the map a little better, even though that map's gigantic. There's so much of that map. I've pretty much been on 15 to 20% of the map.
Yeah.
Playing in like the 100 hours I put in on PS4. So with that knowledge of the map that I know, I just moved in right next to where the iron's at in that area. There's other areas with iron in that area, but that was the area I was used to going. Me and Chev used to go on these like fucking journeys. We'd be down in the south, and then we just like go, okay, we're gonna be gone for a couple days, and we'd like feed the pets, and then we'd like put our backpacks on and just start fucking trekking through the fucking the wilderness until we got to the iron encampment, and we would get a bunch of iron, load up, and then walk back, and then fucking melt it all down there. And I'm like, I'm not doing that this time. So this time I just built right on top of it, and it seems to be working because I'm kind of flying through the levels. I'm flying through my feats. I think I'm like level 31, 32 right now. Although Chris and I think Cody were already moving towards 20 in the time they played, so which is pretty good. So as long as you're doing those journey objectives and stuff, you get a pretty good chunk of experience every time you do that. And yeah, made that server. That server will be accessible for people whenever I post that in the Discord. And seems to be running pretty well, which is good, except for sandstorms for some reason. I was in a sandstorm today. I was playing, and I was in a sandstorm that wasn't doing damage to me. It was just the animation. I was looking around. I was like, this is creepy.
Yeah, you said before that some of them were there, but not visually.
I'll just be like in a field taking damage, and I look over and it says sandstorms happening. I'm like, is it? I'm just like looking around. It's like nice out. And I just run into the house and hang out for a second. I've seen like 2 sandstorms that actually work the way they're supposed to. So there's an issue on the server with that for some reason. I don't know if it's some kind of network latency or something like that, but it's annoying. But it's not that annoying. It's not a big deal. Like as long as you're not, if you're caught out in the middle of the woods anyway and fucking a sandstorm happens, it's going to suck regardless. But being able to see it coming is a huge indicator for anybody who's played the game. You know that. And then I'm also working towards the mounts, because since we played, they introduced mounts, so I have not dabbled in that at all. You have to build, I think it's called a saddler, and make saddles, and then you can put those on pets. And then I think there's staples now too. And then you can ride pets, which is cool and fucking funny, because when we're playing on PS4, me and you, we had our second compound out in the desert, and I was out there, and I was like, I wonder if there's mounts. And then you looked it up, and you're like, no, there's not. And I was like,
and they had no intention.
And then I was like, I wonder if there's a roadmap, like if they're gonna make it, because that's the one thing this game's missing. The fucking one thing. Everything else is great. And we looked it up, and they're like, yeah, just because like the engine and stuff like that, we have like 0 plans to make mounts at all. We're not gonna do it. And I was like, that's a bummer. At least they fucking were straight up about it though. They're like, we're not doing it. And then I didn't play the game for a couple months, and then all of a sudden it's just like, mounts are out. I'm like, I'm not going to complain, but that was a fucking curveball. We're not doing it. Okay, we did it. We did it. So that's fucking cool. Like I said, that's the one thing in that game I want, and they did it. So that's awesome. Speaking about fucking people doing things I want, PSO2 is coming to PC. We already knew that. It's already out on Xbox right now. Wednesday. And we were hoping that they would do cross-play at the very least, or cross-save at the very least. They're doing both. Yeah. Which is awesome. So thank you. Just want to say that. Because I really want to play PSO2 on PC, but we know some people who play on Xbox, and I was like, games like that you want people together playing together, and
very important for MMOs.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just awesome that won't get in between that. So but yeah, Conan Exiles is awesome. It may still be on sale. I think it's like $20. Normally it's $40, so that's like an awesome sale. And yeah, if you're interested in playing on my server, the official Tasty Loot Gaming server, I will have details on that in the Discord soon. Just if you do hop in that server, please be respectful of people's things that they made. This isn't a PvP server, and try and give people some space when they're building. It's funny. I'm like so antisocial when it comes to games like this while being social. Like, because I always, in like Minecraft, in Ark, in fucking this, I always build big things. I try and make this huge fucking thing. I like looking back and going, I made this thing. And a lot of times in these kind of games, people play these games differently. Some people don't even want to build shit. They just want to go explore. They want to go kill stuff. That's all cool. So they'll be like, hey, can I throw my bed in your yard? And I'm like, aesthetically, I really don't want your bed just sitting in my yard. Like, I get you want to be close by, but can you just go put it behind the hill over there so I don't have to look at it or something like that? Like, just that kind of thing. So, give people plenty of space. Unless you're playing with someone and you're like, hey, let's play together, do that, whatever. I'm not trying to be too strict, but all I'm trying to say is don't build your stuff around top of my stuff. That's it. Anywhere else, it's fine.
Yeah, I would say anytime we've ever played these kind of games, you are always the builder, and I'm just here to play the game. So you build, I'll just go do little errands here and there. So
yeah. Well, yeah, like in Minecraft, you were just down underground 24/7, fucking mining, and then I would just come down and take all the shit you were mining.
Yeah.
And then I start building fucking my giant castle, and then I go back down there, and there's just like this endless abyss, and I just hear ching, 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 just down there. Like, I don't know where he's going. And then we're like, hey, let's make like an underground subway down here. Might as well. And everybody's like, okay, yeah. So, same thing happened in Ark. Except for in Ark, I fucking was deforesting like islands.
yeah,
I was like, just fucking no trees.
Fucking Fern Gully 2.0.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm awful for the fucking planet.
I'll say in Ark, I was more concerned with like taming.
Yeah,
a lot.
Well, you did the same thing in Conan as well. You're capturing
Taming,
you're capturing animals and fucking capturing people.
slave trading.
Yeah, yeah, that was your job.
No, they don't call them slaves. They're
Thralls.
thralls. Yeah,
Thralls.
and then food gathering usually. So
Yeah, I'm like right next to a kudo, which is like a giant fucking deer that's really aggressive. Anytime I kill it, it gives me like 17 meat, and then I throw it in my dryer, and then I'm just good for like 8 hours,
Yeah.
a full work day. I'm fine.
It's funny how quickly you got to that point, because I remember when we played before, we went through the whole process of learning. So like, food was a constant like, oh god, I'm hungry.
Even early on though, it's pretty easy to survive in like a not fulfilling way.
Yeah.
Because if you just run through bushes, you can find
Berries.
bugs and berries,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
just chug them. And you have to eat a lot of them, but you get a lot out of those bushes anyway. But it's more annoying to have to run through all these bushes going just to eat. Whereas like you could have like a fucking steak, eat like one or two of them, be done.
Be done, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's way more practical than deforesting everything to eat.
Yeah.
Or even the fish traps. We used one of those for a while, and it just took so long to get a fish in there compared to like if you go kill something.
Yeah, that's more like what's that called?
Set it and forget it.
Yeah, that's not what I was after, but I mean that's pretty much what it was. When you have a base income, but you set up a second one, just a supplemental food,
Yeah, for sure,
is what it was. So
yeah, but then later, by the time we were in our second camp, fucking food wasn't a thing anymore. Didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like we had so much food, it was stupid. We were like running out of room because we had so much food.
exactly. Well, and I think there was a lot of herbivore creatures over by the iron, so like we were able to get food easy. So
Yeah, it's typically where I'll build around. I don't like to build around like I mean I'm across the river from things that will attack me, and I like that because I can run over there and kill things for experience. But
right.
yeah, the area I'm in right now is like right next to a river. A bunch of there's like some crocodiles across the river, but they don't attack me unless I like cross the river. And then a bunch of deer in the area. And there's just not enough trees or rocks. That's another reason why I was like, give me space. Like not because I hate you, but I'm already using all these resources. If you start using them too, I have less resources to use, and so do you. So it's just smarter if you just go north, go west. There's a whole map. Go find your own plot of land and fucking live out your whole Conan fucking big or little dong fantasy.
There you go.
You can make that thing real big. It's like a whole fucking elephant trunk. That thing just flaps around everywhere. It's like, this is not practical because I'm in bushes a lot. I don't want to get tangled in there.
Yeah, that sounds like a great discomfort.
Yeah. Especially when you're in the desert. You can just dry up out there if you're stuck. Who's going to help you? You're going to be like, help, dong stuck, help.
Good looking help anyways.
Little demon boys are going to help you? Fuck those guys.
Fuck those bitches.
I hate them. There's
No
a whole
neck
cave of them next to
bastards.
me. What was that?
No neck bastards.
Yeah, he was talking about like little demon babies or little demon boys or whatever the fuck. And I was like, I'm pretty sure he's talking about those guys. I walk over and there's just these little dudes like this, like walking like, "Rah!" I'm like, that's gotta be who he's talking about because those guys are little demon babies. There's no other way to fucking explain them. Yeah, so game's awesome. Love it so much. I bought it a second time. It's way better on PC than PS4. But it's great on PS4. If you have it on PS4, you want to play it on there, or if you download it, and I'm not trying to discourage you, it's awesome. That's how I got into it. But the PC experience is just everything. It's just better. Even the controls are great, except for what was the one? Oh yeah, C is crouch and control something. I had to switch those because I was like, fuck no.
Yeah, it was really weird.
And then dodge is left alt. I've kept it there, but I don't like it.
No, change that shit real quick.
Yeah. So the controls are kind of weird, but you can change that, of course. But yeah. And then I downloaded, played, and uninstalled real fast Crucible, which is Amazon Games' first game they've released so far. In case you don't know, Amazon is developing games, and their big one that's being talked about is New World. We've talked about that on prior episodes. And that one's had quite a bit of a build up to it, but about like not even a month ago, out of nowhere, they're like, Crucible. You're like, what's that? I'm like, that's our free shooter. It's coming out. Free to play. And people are like, oh, should we be excited? They're like, yeah, play it. And it's out. It just came out. I guess it got delayed, and then it just got released out of nowhere. So it's kind of having a sloppy release. But it's out on Steam right now, and I downloaded it, installed it. Not necessarily because I had like big hype on this game. I did a reaction video to it, and I was pretty like, it looks fine, but I want to try because it's an Amazon game, and that's why I downloaded it. I was like, this is their first game, so I need to see what we're working with here. And first thing that happened when I installed it is it put it on, by default, the lowest resolution possible. So the game was super pixelated and crazy looking. And I was like, why would you do that? And all the graphics are on the low setting too. And I'm like, dude, I can run this game fucking 4 times at the highest graphics. Get the fuck out of here. So I changed all that, and it looked a lot better. And then I did the tutorial, and first off, I noticed the graphics are pretty good. They're pretty decent. They're clean looking. The characters are generic looking though, but a lot of the animations and sound effects seem undercooked. It almost feels like the game isn't finished. Like it's like early access almost. Mm-hmm. It almost feels like a little post-alpha, early beta. One thing that drove me nuts is when you're playing this game, there's no music. There's no atmospheric sound. So all you're hearing is your footsteps and gunshots. That's it. Oh, and the characters will talk every once in a while. So it's really it's unsettling to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm just playing it here. And someone's like, whoa, there's a guy over there. And that's it. There's just nothing else. There's no birds. There's no fucking air sound. There's no music for some reason. A game like that, you'd figure there'd be some kind of like fucking like something to get you like energized while you're shooting at people. Mm-hmm. But it's nothing. It's just silence. And I'm like, this is fucking weird. It's almost as quiet as Final Fantasy 15 Comrades DLC. That game was fucking silent. I was walking through a city full of people, and all I hear is my footsteps going. I'm like, ugh, this is creepy. So anyway, this game is a as of right now 4v4 or 2v2 game where you pick a hero similar to something like Overwatch, other hero shooter games, Valorant, Paladins, Black Ops 3, which came out 6 months before Overwatch, Almexai, and trying to tell me that game copied fucking Overwatch. I'm like, bro, that came out 6 months before. What, they have fucking foresight? Anyway, yeah, so it's got heroes. They all have their own specific things. This game's kind of neat because as you play a match, your character levels, and every like 2 or 3 levels, you get moves every time you level, and it's only temporary. Next round, you'll level again, get your moves up as you play. But in the lobby before you join a game, every like 2 or 3 levels, you get choices of what move you want at that level. So you can kind of make a very basic build. It's like 3 moves per thing. But you go into a game, and the first mode is there's a giant monster. You have to find it. very familiar for me right now. And then you have to kill it and get its heart. I think it's called Heart of the Hive. And then you have to get 3 of those to win. So both teams are vying for those hearts to win. And then there's also random. I just realized how similar it is to Hunt in a weird way. There's even a button you press to like look for. You go into like a fucking dark site. Fucking, that's weird. I just realized this. Maybe that's why it wasn't good for me. Anyway, you have to find the thing, kill it, get its heart. The other team's trying to do the same thing. There's ambient NPC life that walks around, and you have to kill that as well. And yeah, the combat doesn't feel that great. So I don't know. I was playing it, and I was honestly asking myself, like, could I see myself playing this longer than like an hour or two? Who is this for specifically? And is this the right time to be releasing a game like this? Because I feel like the hero shooter, unless you have something really fucking solid, like Valorant came out and people were just like, it's amazing. It's amazing. I don't know if they're being paid off, but everybody's like, it's amazing. Anyone who's played it. So obviously they did something right. This game.
It's funny because I've watched people play it and they were like, yeah, it's okay.
Really?
Yeah. So, but I mean, like, I haven't, I've kind of found out after, when we talk about our different experiences online, I don't follow the same people online you do. So, because I didn't even know what the fuck Valorant was. Like, people on my Twitter are not talking about it at all. So.
Yeah. Well, people I'm talking about are like all big streamers and shit that I don't follow. These are just people being retweeted or commented at.
Gotcha.
I would never follow people talking about Valorant. That's not really the info I'm trying to look for when I'm on Twitter. I'm looking for the juicy, spicy content. But yeah, I don't know. The whole time I was playing the game, I was like, this game doesn't necessarily have an identity. And it sucks because the tutorial feels really tacked on. It feels kind of like, I don't know, felt lame. But then when I'm playing the game, every character looks completely different, all has really good animations. They all actually have their own dialogue. They'll say randomly, dynamically while you're playing. They'll talk to each other. So they put work into this for sure. But like I said, it feels unfinished. But even if it was finished, I don't know if I could play this game because I was getting really heavy. Evolve vibes from it.
Gotcha.
It felt like Evolve without hunting down another player.
Huh.
It was weird. There's so much time. You were like right when the match starts, you pick your drop point on the map, and then when you respawn, you have to pick another drop point. And every time you die, you have to redrop from a different drop point, which is kind of cool for pacing reasons. You kill a person, you know they're gonna be gone for a little bit, which is nice. I like that kind of thing. But we launched in. We're running around just killing NPCs to level up, to get our skills ready. So that when we get into combat, we're more efficient. And I was like, can I do this every match? Like, that's not really fun for me. And it might be fun for somebody else. I'm not saying like it's bad. I'm just saying for me, it's like, I was not enjoying myself. I was like, there are so many other shooters I would be like rather playing right now than this game where I have to preemptively, and I know it's a strategy, like build up your character real quick before you get into combat. But like, I was like, this isn't fun for me. And everyone I was playing with, it's a brand new game. We all kind of seemed like we didn't know what we're doing. We're kind of just running around different directions, and we ran into the other team. I was fucking wrecking that other team. I was killing them all. It was ridiculous. Should have recorded it because now I just sound like an asshole just making shit up. But I legit, I was playing this melee dude, and I was just like flying at him, fucking hitting them, and they'd be in the middle of shooting at someone. I'd come up, fucking hit them and stun them. And
in all fairness, you've been playing like nothing pretty much but Hunt all month.
Yeah, I'm sharp right now. Like I probably play most first-person shooters right now and be pretty fucking good because in Hunt, you got to get that shot. If you miss, you're fucking dead. If you're playing a game where you can get shot for days or you can have a full auto fucking weapon, wow, the miracles of modern fucking day technology, it's a lot easier. Just to look at a direction, go versus wait, hold on a second. I feel like I'm in the Civil War.
The sound of the game to me, I don't really have a lot of opinions on the like the actual game itself, but the how you're describing essentially
I don't do such a bad job.
the inconsistent polish, I guess I want to say. Sounds like, first off, Amazon's a new publisher, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm trying to look past it a
And
bit.
and maybe the publisher to dev communication or understanding is really not good. And that could be a huge factor of that too, because like we've all seen, publishers can sometimes get a little antsy, be like, we need to sell this, we need to sell this, we need to be making money off this right now. And the dev's like, it's not ready, it's not ready. And maybe Amazon was like, release it. So
Well, that's the thing too. Maybe it was like it's a free to play game, so there's like just get it out.
Yeah.
Like let's just get it going, see what happens.
and just keep working on it.
And I feel like this game could be something good, but I feel like if it does get any traction, it will not be the same game.
Check back in 2023.
Yeah, when they change it and add new modes that aren't this mode, and yeah,
That's all games are the fucking long game now.
yeah. But a game like this should be.
Sure.
I was just playing. I was like, I would rather play Overwatch. I'd rather play fucking a lot of games than this when I was playing it, and that kind of sucked because I don't know. There's just nothing about it that did anything for me outside of that. I appreciated that this brand new game by a developer under Amazon made a pretty decent looking, decent made game. Like I was clapping for him.
Sure.
I'm like, good job. But outside of that, like the shooting didn't feel good. It didn't feel impactful when you hit people. It felt fucking loose. The moves, none of them felt awesome. Except for once in this like spiral spin attack that my guy had. And I was just killing people and fucking them up. Of course, the competitive part of me was like, fuck you.
360 no scope.
The ideas of it, like, they're slightly different than other games, so I'll give them that. But at the same time, it's not that interesting. And then like I think I got like 3 or 4 levels, and like I was just unlocking like banners, and I was like, this isn't interesting to me though. And they weren't even that cool looking. They're really like the art style was like, there's like some Call of Duties you unlock like fucking like a badge and then like a background banner thing, and sometimes they're animated, sometimes they're not. But sometimes the flair, sometimes the art styles in some of the Call of Duties are really good, and there's other ones that release where the art style was shit, and I was like, ooh, that's fucking horrible looking. I don't like any of these. Yeah. Even if like the thematically I liked what they're going for, just the art style was like really bland and boring. I don't know if that was just to like save memory because everybody's has theirs loaded at once.
I like Titanfall 2s.
Sure, me too. But yeah, in this I was looking at them and like they were like almost nothing. Like they're like a picture, but they were like so undetailed that it was almost like a fucking just a painting of color. I don't know.
It sounds like the game's in progress still.
Yeah, it really feels like I said, undercooked.
It feels so weird because you would think that, they say first impressions are everything. And yeah, Amazon has a lot of money and they can kind of throw things around. But like, this is your first foray into making a game. You want to make it impactful. You want people to be like, oh, these guys make amazing games. Like their first game was awesome. But like, if it's like you're describing, it's kind of bland and kind of meh. Why would I invest money into buying anything they make at this point?
I think I'd argue with you a little bit because Amazon has also shown that they're willing to make cheaper products to get it out to more people too. Because their Fire tablets, for example, they're Android tablets, but they're super restrictive. They're covered in ads, and the first thing that happens is it goes straight to the Amazon store for all that stuff. So you get a cheaper tablet, and it does most of the things you want a tablet to do, but like they're not necessarily like amazing.
It does none of the things I want my tablet to do. I got a Fire 10, and it's fine, but I can't access any of the goddamn apps I want.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't put it past Amazon to kind of like minimize to make as much profit as possible. So, which is unfortunate because they're a company who can afford to like make like holy shit games.
Yeah, well, that's part of like the problem I have with it is that they have the resources to make these games that could be so like amazing, but they tend to go chintzier just to make it out there faster. It's that corporate greed coming through in their base systems of, well, we could make this amazing game, but it's going to cost us too much money, and we want to make quick, fast money and fuck everybody else over.
Yeah, I don't know if they're doing that though with this game though, just because like it's a free to play game first off, so my standard of free to play is lower than this game typically.
Sure.
It does feel somewhere in between AAA and free to play for sure. So it does have a premium feel. The problem is everything about it is subpar. Even the graphics are almost really good, but they're not quite, and that's not a big deal. But even the playability, everything about it is just almost good, but it's not quite. The problem is it's a free to play game, so you have nothing to lose by playing it. But they want you to stay. They want you to spend money. I won't be doing that.
Yeah.
And that's not because I feel like, they're trying to get a cheap product out there to try and make money. It's because they released, I think just quickly, because they're trying to get games out there to see what people think, an undercooked game that is honestly uninspired and also chasing a genre that I don't think has the same steam it did. It's like when Cliff Bleszinski put out Radical Heights when his company was dying. It was like in the middle of fucking dying. He's like, we got to make something right now. So they released that unfinished fucking Battle Royale game that a lot of people actually liked. I played it. I was like, this is actually kind of neat. Now, compared to Battle Royales that exist now, it would have been nothing. But they put out like a fucking game that you went into houses and there's no floors. There's just grass and stuff. I mean, the game was unfucking finished. And then the company died. That's because they were quickly trying to chase a genre that they thought there was a lot of money to be made. Same thing with this. The Amazon is working on New World. They're doing something that
Another dead genre.
it's not, but that's the difference.
Yeah.
There's nothing indicating that MMOs as a genre is something you should be getting into right now.
Yeah.
Because the only ones that are successful are the ones that have been around.
For sure.
All the other ones, there's no room to be making new ones. They're all going to mobile and shit because that's where the money's at. But Amazon has the fuck you money to go, we can find out.
Yeah.
Right? So that's New World. At least Overwatch just was fucking given a 10 out of 10 masterpiece by IGN this year when they re-reviewed it, saying it's like an expert level masterpiece game. So they're fucking propping it up. In the comments, most people are like, are you fucking high? But people still play Overwatch.
Sure.
Valorant's coming out. It's getting fucking hype behind it. Regardless of the people who don't play shooters or aren't into Valorant by the way it looks or whatever, the people who have played, a lot of them have said really good things. So, that's showing that fucking Rainbow Six Siege, even though it is a tactical shooter in some sense, it's also a hero shooter technically because fucking every person has their own things. Yeah, for sure. They're all individual characters. There is money to be made in the genre still. It just seems like we're on the downslope of this genre. It feels like we're moving into the era of where only the established games in the hero shooter genre will survive. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to be new, you got to fucking bring it. And luckily, the people making Valorant have already a huge track record of making a successful game.
People still play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They know how to
In
make
a
individual
dead genre.
characters
Yeah.
who have their own individual powers, stuff like that. Shooter-wise, it's just a new genre, but it's still very much something that they're used to outside of, getting shooting and aiming stuff down. Whereas this game, this is being made by one of the developers under Amazon. I'm sure people who work for this developer have worked in other places in the industry and stuff. But it's not the same people working on New World as well. These are two different developers. So
right.
And it's a free to play game, so you're going to put less budget into that.
Versus the game you buy.
Yeah, and I feel like just like Evolve, when that game came out, was great looking, made very well, couldn't find a fucking audience. I feel like this game is going to have the same fate.
For sure.
Just because when I was playing it, I felt like I don't know who this game is for. Somebody who needs a free-to-play game that doesn't have Overwatch, won't have Valorant, doesn't have access to games that are similar to it. Maybe it might get a small following. I don't see this game and come back later. Maybe this game blows up and I was completely wrong. I'm fine with that. I want this game. I want every game to be successful.
I'd even be okay with a game in that type of genre to be able to catch my attention because that's a genre I just don't really care about.
I played it.
So
I was hoping
yeah.
I go, oh shit, okay, this game isn't that generic looking. It's actually great. The gameplay's awesome. But everything about it was just like, and I uninstalled it like pretty quickly after I played it.
Yeah.
I couldn't see myself playing it later. Unless, later I start hearing a lot of people talking about it going like, that game fucking had a kind of a shitty start, but it ended up being something really good. I might revisit it, but as of right now, you'd probably have to pay me to play it. Like I couldn't even, if someone was like, hey, you want to play this with me? I'd be like, we could play something else.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to enjoy myself. And you probably won't either. So,
Yeah.
which is whatever. But kind of like Chris was saying earlier that, you know, that kind of worries him in the sense I'm not saying verbatim what you said, but he's saying, how can you want to buy their games later if they're doing something like this? And it doesn't affect me to that degree just because this is a free-to-play game. They obviously rushed it, which is, for whatever reason, a mistake. But New World is being developed by a different group under Amazon. So if we get like 3 games from Amazon Games made by different developers and all 3 of them fucking suck,
There's a leadership issue.
then I'd be worried that Amazon is not taking this serious.
For sure.
And they're just trying to make some money. But based off of this one, I think it's a better attempt than a lot of people. And I think it is a good quality free-to-play game. It's just it just showed up going like, I'm here, and everybody's like, who are you? We're busy playing these good games. Yeah, but I'm good. Well, you're okay, but yeah. And it feels like it doesn't have a place. So hopefully it can carve out its own thing, because it has an interesting game type, and then it has a 2v2 mode where you just fight each other. But yeah, I mean, when I was playing it, I was like, and this is another game that doesn't really have legs right now, which kind of sucks. And it's a game I like, but like Bleeding Edge, I was playing fucking Crucible, and I was like, I'd rather be playing Bleeding Edge right now, because that game is actually fun and better looking, and the characters are more interesting, and the moves are more interesting, and it just feels more rewarding to play. So, and that's a newer game that just came out, and it's still not on a lot of people's radars, and I think it's better than this game. So it feels like a swing and a miss in my opinion, but hopefully they can fix that.
Yeah.
All right, what have you guys been playing? That's all I've been playing.
Mine's really easy. Playing Final Fantasy 14. I hit level 80 with my Dark Knight, so it's my 9th level 80 character now. Working on number 10, trying to figure out which one to do. I was just talking with Chris before the show about that. Feeling kind of lost because I've played all the stuff like I really wanted to level, and now it's more so like doing the rest. And hopefully I'm pleasantly surprised, because some of the ones I wanted to level I ended up not really caring for at 80. So but that's pretty much it there. I don't really have a lot to report.
What has Trishelle been playing?
The wife. Oh, actually, to bring this up real quick before I say that, because it leads into that.
Let them know.
When is this airing? Is this coming out
Today.
So
we're filming
you
as
have
of
till
the day we're
tomorrow to
Monday.
get a
Today's
free
Monday.
copy of Final Fantasy 14 on PlayStation 4. It's the full base game with 30 days playtime for
Which is awesome.
free.
Which is awesome.
On PlayStation 4. I would take advantage if you're curious about the game. They already have a really good like trial version of the game you can play. This is just essentially a bigger trial with no restrictions.
This is literally just, hey, get in the game, see if you like it, buy the expansions if you dig it.
Yeah, so really good opportunity to try it out. So that being said, I was like, man, I really wish I had an excuse to do that, because I already own it on PS4. I was like, I'll just put it on the wife's account, and then, you know, maybe if I want to level an alt or something like that, I'll have it over there. So I put her over there, and I let her know about it. Well,
So you're telling me I should buy her a copy of Hunt Showdown?
you could try. That might be a little too stressful for her. She fights more than one thing in Final Fantasy 14. She starts freaking out. So,
yeah, she'd freak out.
but she wanted to make a character because she likes that kind of stuff, and she started making it, and then she kind of started playing, and then she just kept playing. So maybe she'll stay
For hours.
Yeah, she played all day yesterday. It was
The
kind of
first
crazy.
day I thought she's like in the Discord, she's talking with Chris and other people. She's got this big smile on her face. She looks like she's not really paying attention to the game. She's just on there just like talking with people. And I'm like, oh, it's like a social thing. She's just enjoying herself, like talking with everyone. The next day I come out and she's just sitting there without talking to anyone, just playing it on the TV for hours.
all day.
And I was looking
All
at it, I was
day.
like, okay, she's putting respectable time into this game.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's
yeah, it was
weird.
interesting.
For context, she doesn't really play anything
She doesn't play anything.
at all. I mean, like when I first watched her play, she was trying to walk out a door and she wasn't using the right analog stick. She's pulling Dean and fucking, she was just like walking to the wall trying to get around it. And I was like, ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
you don't play games at all.
At all.
It's like watching someone's grandma play. Watching fucking crazy grandpa in the basement fucking.
Yeah, now she's sitting there in combat, and she'll
Yeah,
go
yesterday
through a
was our
small
plan.
combo that she has, and Yeah.
She's got to work on the cones on the ground though, because sometimes I'll watch her and she's just standing
Stands
in it
in it,
hitting
yeah.
somebody, and I'm like thinking like, move.
There was one quest she died like 4 times because she was standing in 2 orange circles at the same time, and I was like,
Double
I
trouble.
was like, it's more important for you to move than to kill them.
yeah.
And she's like, I'm trying. I'm like, just, it's gonna take practice. And then now she's got it, but she always has this habit of walking backwards, and sometimes the cones are really long, so walking backwards is the wrong option.
Yeah.
So,
But
she's learning.
Like with every game, regardless of if you play games or play games a lot or don't play games at all, you put time into something, you're going to learn to get better. So,
And I've already visibly seen that, which has been
So
kind
have
of
I.
cool. Yeah.
so if she drops it, whatever, but she's already put enough time into it that like it'd be cool if she kept playing it, because I have seen improvement in like the 2 days she's been playing. So
She also said, and because I have gotten her to play 2 games in the past, I got her to play Trials Evolution, which was a really weird one for her to play, but not very many buttons, so that kind of makes sense in that regard.
it's kind of straightforward.
Yeah.
Don't crash.
I mean, she maybe wasn't getting like amazing scores, but she was passing courses. So, and then Diablo 3, she played a little bit, and she enjoyed playing it, but it was really gory for her, so it kind of bothered her. She was playing 14 yesterday. She's like, I think I like this more than Diablo. I was like, that's great to hear. So,
There's a chill factor to MMOs though that
100%.
that I think entices casuals. I guess I'm not saying that in a negative sense, but there are people who just are not super into games.
Well, I think MMOs are a great example of a game that is designed for multiple audiences because they are designed for
WoW at its peak was full of every kind of person you can think of.
exactly, and so like
A lot of casuals.
the
playing
casual
WoW.
factor is huge in MMOs. In fact, that's where they make most of their money, and then they make content for what you would call the core players. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's great that they can have that kind of ecosystem. So, as long as they don't ignore one or the other, because then you start getting people pissed off. So, but yeah. So that being said, she was playing. We'll see if she's still playing by next weekend. I'll let you guys know. And then Animal Crossing. So I've been playing. My 10th villager has now been moved. I'm done moving villagers. I have them all in their own little properties, very designed. I can start working on the rest of the island. I wish I
You
could.
have 10 people on your island?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. And I have a little neighborhood set
I can
up.
barely handle the 2. Everything I do, they're just looking over my fence like, oh, you're going to put that there? I'm like, I thought it looked good. Yeah, well,
I would.
you would think that looked good.
I hopped on today to move that, have that 10th villager's house moved, which will happen tomorrow. Now you're like, I want them here, and they're like, all right, we'll construct it tomorrow. And I go outside, and like almost all my villagers just hang out in town square, and they're all just exercising. I'm like, all right, I guess I missed the
Damn.
memo on that one. So,
That's fucking dope.
so I don't know. That game's just so chill, and it's nice because you can play it for like 5 minutes, or you can play it all day. The game really allows you to play as much
Has
as you want.
Trishelle played Animal Crossing?
No,
Because I know so many people who do not play video games who play Animal Crossing.
so my problem with that is you share an island. So I would have to get her a Switch.
That's quite the investment.
Yeah, for a test.
Especially right now getting a Switch.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in her accidentally destroying like my flowers and stuff. So
Yeah, that's rough. I didn't think about that.
yeah. So and that's a hard test at that point. So sounds messed up, but I put a lot of time in my island now.
Sure, you're talking to the right guy. I understand. I'm the one who's like, people are like, hey, we're friends. We've known each other for like 15 years. Can I come to your house? Not my house. You can go over there. Wait, I can't live with you? No, I need my space. I love you, buddy, but you got to go that way.
You can visit,
Go north.
but you need to go home at 9.
I'll give you some wood, man, but just go somewhere else, man. Just let me do my thing.
Yeah, I do think there would be an appeal there for her though, just because the game offers like it's a very anyone who's played Animal Crossing knows, but it's a decoration game pretty
Yeah.
much. So, I think
Yeah, you're just stylizing everything. Just like, I want to look like this. I want them to look like this. I want this to look like this.
well, some people actually design like clotheslines in game, and then you come to their island, and they're like, "Come buy one of my designs." Like, so
And on top of that, everyone just goes fucking. And you go, woohoo!
all the time.
Fucking love that. Even when I'm not playing, I'll walk by, I'll hear you playing. He's like, woohoo! And I'm like, hell yeah. They always look so just like, it could be anything. They could find a fucking boot on the ground. They just like grab them like look at this. And you're like, yeah, that's nice. And then they're like, yeah, look at this. It's a fish. Yep. Look at this. It's a flower.
Well, it's really funny too because you can go up to your villagers and like show it off as in a command, and you'll do it again, and they'll be like,
Oh, yeah. That game's just constantly encouraging you. Because at the end of the day, you're making money to pay off your fucking debt that you're put in. So everyone's like, yeah, keep doing that. Just keep fucking giving us money.
keep this island alive because we're just being lazy pieces of shit without you.
While they feed you your false god complex of like everyone going up, what do you think I should do? You want to do it for me? Yeah, I'll do it for you. My opinion's better than yours. Yeah, it is. You should just pick it for me. Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Every villager. I was going to wear this, but you should probably pick it. Yeah, I'm gonna because I have a better opinion. Yeah, you do.
I also like how like
That game's just yes man the game.
you can give people clothes and they may not be like remotely the right style for them or whatever, and they're like, I've been totally eyeballing this. They'll put it on, it's like, it's just my style, and they're so happy. You're like, no it isn't, but I'm glad you love it.
They fucking love it.
I got this little, brought him up before, I got this little fat penguin on my island named Iggly. He's my favorite villager. He's gonna just live there forever. And I give him the most ridiculous clothes because he just talks about being buff and working out all the time, but then he's wearing like bright pink workout clothes and stuff. So
Hell yeah.
yeah,
You still gotta give me my fucking jumpsuit.
you got to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I'm trying to get this guy to play, steal his brother's Switch, and buy the game. Your brother's too busy playing Tarkov. You'll be fine.
When did he start playing Tarkov?
He's been playing Tarkov for a long time.
Long time?
Yeah. Like before he was deployed.
Weird. Very sneaky.
No.
But that's all I've been playing. So, real easy. Though, we'll be playing something else after we do this episode that we can talk about in great detail for Plus Club.
So much detail.
Yeah, a lot of detail about fucking crops and tractors and fucking dirt or something.
I don't know. There's some stories to tell already. So but there's some ridiculous driving physics in that game.
I haven't seen yet.
Yep.
Chris, what have you been playing?
Well, I have the ever-present Final Fantasy 14, always present. I got also my 10th 80 now.
Nice.
A Bard. Nothing fancy. It's different. I mean, Bard has changed every expansion, so it's different.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like they can't figure out what they want to do with it.
Yeah. I remember original Bard was really fun, really movie, kind of like, you're playing songs to buff damage, or one of the songs used to do damage to mobs around you. Now it just buffs damage. It just gives buffs to crits, and then direct hits, and then just more buffs. Buff. But it's okay. Nothing else crazy to report there. I've been playing Overwatch a lot. Still getting, I think, competent in DPS now. I wouldn't say I'm amazing. Nothing like high grandmaster thing, but I'm competent in DPS. I can kill people now.
That's good.
Assistance. And that's fun. But I only played it last night, but so far I've been most excited about playing Conan Exiles again.
Mm-hmm.
I have kind of designed my character, since everybody's like kind of off base building. I kind of want to make my character kind of like the wandering like merchant / nomad guy. So
I'm literally the only guy base building right now, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say fucking Josh is off fighting shit in the woods and Cody's wandering around looking for people.
I was like, oh, sorry, get back to what you were saying there. But the one you brought up, Josh thing. I remember when we played Ark and he had like that beach fucking shanty.
Yeah, a little shack where the roof was too low for his head.
Yeah, and then
This guy was too big.
he played long enough to throw a shack out on the beach, and that was it. I was like, all right.
And Cody, fucking, we played for like hours, and like almost the whole time, he would just be quiet, and like every like once an hour, he'd like be like, "So where are you?" Chris would be like, "Oh, I'm over by the blah blah blah." He's like, "Okay, gotcha." And like an hour later, he's like, "I don't see you." And we're just like, finally, I told him my coordinates. It's like, "Oh, okay, I got you." He started like heading north or whatever, and then I just never heard from him. And then he's talking about some shit happening across the river, and I was like, me and Josh saw that exact same thing happening. So I come running down the dirt road, and fucking as I'm running down, he's like, yeah, there's just this huge fucking fight happening. I look over across the river, I see like spiders, fucking humans, goddamn crocodiles just having a royal rumble. And I'm like, is that the one you're talking about? He's like, yeah, that's the one. And I'm like, where are you? He's like, oh, I just got a shack right across the room. I'm just watching it. And I'm like, he set up a house just to watch the fucking hillbilly neighbors fuck around. And then I go down there and he's got like a fucking 1x1 shack with like almost a completed roof.
Support body.
Yeah, pretty much. He's living in a porta potty. He had a furnace just right next to his house though. So I'm like,
Keeping warm, all right.
just a giant furnace to melt down fucking metals, and he's just got that next to his little shack.
Hey, simple needs.
And like I just go down there, and he's just like on the side of the river, just like watching. It's just the guys fighting and shit. And then I pull out my katana, I run over there and start swinging. All of a sudden, he runs over, starts attacking shit, and this is ridiculous. Then I insta died. I had full health. I'm fine, and then all of a sudden I go, ugh, and I like had to respawn. I was like, "What the fuck happened?"
Weird,
So
yeah.
So I think it was a lag spike.
Latency issue.
But yeah, and then eventually fucking Cody. I showed Cody my place. He came up. He's like, "Whoa!" And like he's like looking around, and then he starts using all my furnaces and my dryer and shit. He's like, "How's this work?" And then he's like, And then he like turns on, and looks at me. He's like, "I need more iron." And I'm like, "It's right over there." He's like, "Let's go get some." I'm like, "Okay." We go over there. And he's just fucking grabbing it and getting attacked by monsters and grabbing more. And he's coming over and he's melting it down. He's like, "I need more iron." I'm like, "What do you live here now?"
It reminds me of the meme where the popcorn like works his way to the gums and it's like, I live here now.
Pretty much, yeah. That was Cody. And then like by the end of the night, fucking he's like, "All right, I'm gonna go back to my house." And he starts running off. I'm like, "You're not gonna grab all your iron?" Like he melted down a bunch and he just left it in my thing. He's like, "Oh yeah, good idea." And he like comes back,
Price
grabs
of
shit.
admission.
I was about to say like, "You want to leave it? I'll take it." Like I'm not gonna say no to that, but but all in all, Cody was just trying to like, he was like learning fucking
his bearings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let him use my playground. Anyway, Chris, you're
Sorry.
being the nomad.
Yeah. I decided to make. I'm gonna go around the entire map because you can place markers on the map. So I'm gonna try to discover locations and get the markers and name them whatnot. But make like little kind of like way stations of huts across the map in different locations. That way I can kind of just move around constantly and just kind of nomad it up, I guess. I mean, usually in these games, I find like a spot really relatively close to the spawn and just build up from there. But I've never done like this kind of like wandering like information dealer type thing.
Yeah, that's one play style I notice people do a lot in like these kind of games. Like back when we used to play Minecraft, there'd be like people like Patrick and a couple other people. Like as soon as the game started, they start running off into the woods and like you just find their flares everywhere, just on trees and caves, fucking just in random spots, and you can just tell where they've been because there's just like fucking Cheeto bags and fucking Pepsi and fucking they've just been partying across the forest. But yeah, I'm the type that typically tries to find like a spot, build up, and then once I feel like that place is like completed, I'll fucking move on, make a new compound in another location. Typically depending on the resources I'm looking for, but
Yeah.
which
I
is
even have aesthetics picked out. Like I used
no
spears
pants.
and shields. No pants at the moment. That'll probably change eventually because I'm sure armor will become a factor as I go out to the more dangerous
Oh, it's
areas.
definitely a factor. Yeah.
There's also heat in that game, so like you
Yeah.
know, you can't go out in the snow pantsless, you'll freeze to death.
Yeah, you'll die.
I mean, I am working towards perks that are more geared towards surviving the wilderness than necessarily like combat orientated.
I'll say if you're not gonna make a base, it makes sense to be able to survive. So
Yeah,
And that's
so
what
I
I-
have
that's
like
why I
the
got
base
set
of
up.
all the crafting skills. So like I can do like simple weapons and like simple armor. But I'm gonna be more focused towards spears, shields, and bows and armor crafting. As far as like the crafting skill trees go, is really all I'm gonna focus on.
I used bows when we played on PS4. They were fun. I think whenever I do hop on the server, I'll probably try something different though.
I already built your house.
My little shack where I get to live.
It's the highest building in the city so far. I have my house, and then right above it, there's another house, and that's yours.
Okay.
Because I know you're just gonna run in there, use the bed as a respawn area and fucking need boxes for your personal shit.
Pretty much.
Outside of that, we're just gonna be fucking taming everything. I want fucking saddles.
I'm gonna go find
I'm
all
just gonna
the.
circle around back to you guys and just trade goods for supplies.
You can do that. It's a fucking giant hub.
I give you one alligator tooth. You give me all your iron.
I'll build you a whole fucking house that when you stop by, you can stay there and put your shit in there.
Just throw it all off and take off again.
Chris's trading hub.
That's basically what I'm building around the different areas. I built like all I'm building all the crafting stations outside of a tiny little shack, so that way I can just kind of, like I said, just kind of circle around the map.
Yeah, to get the full extent of the crafting though, you gotta have like a lot of stations. You gotta have fucking
ridiculous.
yeah. There's a lot. That's why I beelined it to just build all those as quick as I could. I still have a bunch of them I gotta build too. I still gotta build a fucking giant. It's like a giant half circle structure you have to build to put animals in.
Yeah, it's
And
huge.
that's the next thing I want to build. Yeah.
You know, it's not huge to build the whipping station.
It's pretty small. I have a camp full of thralls next door too, just right down the road. My neighbors are crocodiles, the thralls, and then those stupid rock monsters.
Oh, you mean like just the wild NPCs though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thralls, yeah.
Well, I didn't know if you had tamed them or not,
Yeah.
since it's pretty much what it is.
Pretty much, yeah. I was about to build a fucking a whip and drag them back home soon. So,
You got to use a club and a whip,
yeah.
a rope, club and rope. Knock them out, drag them back. Make
Every
them
time I
walk
wa-
in a circle until they're domesticated.
That's the next objective I have on my journey right now. One of them is build something for my religion, which I haven't done yet, and put someone on the wheel of pain. So
All right.
I need to do that.
Any other plans or stories for Conan?
There's so many cool things in Conan. Like you have the fucking town, you build it up, but then you also have all these crafting options, but then you also can start installing fucking thralls onto all these stations, and that just makes the whole place run better. Does things automated wise. Like it's fucking there's so many systems in place in that game. It's awesome.
Yeah,
I think they act as like
overwhelming.
yeah, it can be for
Oh, yeah.
sure.
And the map set up like Skyrim. It's the one time I'm gonna bring up Skyrim in like a positive light. And for me personally, if you love it, cool. But as you find locations, it'll put a thing on the map and tell you what it is. And there's like actual things to find and emotes you can only learn from certain NPCs and shit. So exploration actually matters. You can climb everything, which is fucking awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Now to find time. I mean, you're playing it right
I
now,
got
but
12 hours in.
yeah,
Not playing all the other games I want to be playing.
yeah, me either.
When we play fucking Farming Simulator, it's going to be real brief. Because I got farming to do in Conan.
All right.
Nope. Other than like the plus games, that's it. That's all I've been
Chris right now, he has a fucking shack up on this like plateau thing, this flat fucking cliff. And we climbed up there, and it almost seems like a different world up there. Like you're down near the river, there's sand, there's grass, there's trees, all shit. And we climb this fucking big ass fucking cliff. At the very top, it's just flat and it's just dry sand up there. It's just desert, and it's just like a fucking like a 2x2 shack where Chris is fucking shacking up. He's got a deer head in there. That's about it. And then fucking and the
That's
place
his trophy.
The place is just fucking teeming with fucking with vultures. There's just vultures everywhere. They're sitting around next to their eggs. They don't attack you. You walk up and you hit them, they die instantly. And then fucking when you go to harvest them, they just have feathers, so they don't have meat.
But there's eggs, right?
So Chris just
No.
So Chris. Oh, there's no eggs.
There's only feathers in the nests.
Oh shit. Okay, so they're useless. And fucking so Chris is just living with these vultures that they don't harm him. He doesn't harm them.
They have a
They don't
symbiotic
move.
relationship.
They just kind of sit there.
It's a different world up there. I was just looking around. I was like, it's just you guys up here. There's nothing else going on. No resources, no nothing. Just
But it's safe.
it is safe. Nothing's getting you up there.
Yeah, but how good is safe if you can't eat?
He has to climb
I
down
just
to eat.
fine. I can eat raw meat just fine.
Where's the meat coming from? The birds are all feathers.
I snipe it, and I jump down the cliff.
You go and steal someone else's food?
I
snipe
do
it.
eat people.
Huh? Oh,
I
you're a
eat
cannibal. Oh.
I had a couple random forearms in my fucking pocket, and I was just like looking at it. I was like, I just like dropped them. I was like, I'm not fucking using these.
Look, man, I'm a survivalist. You do what you can to survive, man.
Oh, I know. My whole compound is my survival. Once I have a city there, that's my survival. I started in the fucking desert naked, dong hanging in the wind, and now I'm the goddamn emperor.
Just for a brief moment, we talk about the weird physics they have for your dong.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I'm
We can
just
talk
standing
about
up
that.
there, and it's just a nice, normal, like sunny day. No, like breeze is really indicated by anything around me, and my dong is just breezing like a cloth in the wind, just going.
Yeah, in the fucking in the character editor, you could sit there. There's a slider. You can change your dick from fucking. I'll say dong. That's more fun. To being like a nub, to being like a fucking trunk, just like hanging down, like fucking doubly past your balls. And when you rotate your character, it's just like flying all over the place. Which good for them, because we've dealt with the most ridiculous boob physics for fucking ever.
100%.
Right? And I don't mind them. I'm not a person to advocate get rid of them, blah blah blah. But they've been ridiculous in certain games, much more than others. So I think it's time that we have some ridiculous dong physics, and this game definitely gives it to everybody. I was looking at when I was changing the slider, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna make mine super small, but I'm not also making mine like fucking. I grew up next to a power plant, and the radiation got into me because fucking.
There was a spider. It landed on me.
Yeah, some kind of superhero story here where Trunk Man fucking got his powers from a rabid elephant. So
Rabid elephant.
So I gave myself a respectable size, but not. There's like a fucking certain size in that game. It's just like this isn't beneficial to anybody. Not helping you. It's not helping anybody else.
You're definitely not procreating anymore.
You're not procreating anymore. No one's gonna be fucking hanging out with you at all with that thing because it's just in the way. And yeah, I was like, that thing's just ridiculous. But that's how you see maximum physics, because that thing was fucking going everywhere. So I can only imagine when the wind's blowing, it just goes. It's like a wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man. Only it's your dong. That's why I keep pants on. Chris doesn't though. That was my first introduction to him. I'm like out in the wild looking for him. He's like, yeah, I'm in fucking I-5 wherever the hell. And like I'm looking around for him. And then I turn the corner and he's just up on the cliffside, and all I see is just fucking a leather daddy without pants and a fucking tribal mask on. And I'm like, what have I fucking come across right now? He's like, check this out. He goes running off, just fucking bare-assed into the fucking desert. And then he's like, follow me up this cliff. And then he's like just crawling up it. I'm crawling behind him. I'm just like, just all ass. I'm like, this place has quite the view. It's ridiculous.
My intimidation factor, all right? I scared them naked.
It was intimidating considering I'm pretty versed in that area, and I know the area of people you killed off, and it was just you there without pants. And I'm like, people lived here. I've been by here before in my other game. And now they're all gone. And it's just that fucking pantsless dude going, hey, check this out. I'm like, this is that wild man who lives on the cliff.
Not disturbing at all.
Yeah, it was a warning, if anything.
Oh, God.
Anything else want to talk about dongs or anything?
I'm sure there'll be more next weekend.
Josh had a picture of fucking him like squatting on a dude's face on the Discord, and his dude's just sitting there, his eyes are all shadowed out, and it's just his nuts and his fucking dong hanging on this guy's face. And I was like, Jesus
He's
Christ.
living that Halo dream.
Pretty much, yeah. That's about as close as you're ever going to get to that.
Jesus.
The dream that was teabagging is fucking realized in Conan Exiles. We'll leave it on that.
Yeah.
Unless you guys have anything else to
No.
say. All right, let us know what dong games you've been playing, or any games that you've been playing. What would you recommend? What would you not recommend? What games are you really enjoying right now? Have you played Crucible. And did you like it? Did you not like it? It's free to play. Let me know what you think of that game. Maybe I'm crazy. And yeah. So we haven't had a general discussion in a while on the show. The show actually started with the idea of talking about general stuff, and then we did a lot of reaction stuff. But I thought it'd be fun to talk about something because, first off, there's like no fucking news, nothing going on in gaming right now. And secondly, this is kind of relevant to a lot of the things I'm experiencing right now, which is addictive games. Now, personally, I'm going to use the word addictive loosely because I think people who actually get addicted to games typically have some kind of other thing going on. If it wasn't games, they'd be addicted to something else. But I'm more so talking about like games that you just really want to fucking play. Like it's all you're thinking about. I really want to fucking play this game. I love this game, blah, 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 blah. You're putting a lot of time into it. You're not playing other games because of it. Reasons being, we just talked about, so I'm not going to talk about too much, but I've been playing a lot of Hunt Showdown, so much so that it's been really hard for me to play the Plus games. It's been really hard for me to play the Game of the Month, but I have played them. We'll be talking about that. Stay tuned. But it's just been really, Final Fantasy VII. I still haven't beaten that game. Been playing Hunt. So it's definitely got its fucking hook in me. And then yesterday I started playing Conan Exiles and I couldn't stop playing for 12 hours. It was a long sit and I wasn't expecting that. I literally was checking my server. I was just hopping and going, I wonder if the server works. And then I started playing and now I have like a whole fucking compound I've built. So, I thought this was interesting just because these are two very different games. So, I want to discuss, and we've kind of talked about it before a little bit, but I want to revisit this discussion. What makes a game to you personally? There's no right or wrong answers here. What makes a game addictive? What are the qualities of a game that make it so you have to play it? It's the game you want to play because everyone will play a game casually. You might play a racing game real quick and enjoy yourself or blah, blah, blah. And even if you're like, I need to beat this game and you beat it, but sometimes there's a game that's just like, it's the game you want to play. It's the game you need to play right now. And I kind of want to talk about what games have done that for you, what makes that game. And then I also have a list from IGN that I want to go down on the top 10 most addictive online games. This is, of course, their opinion, but it's very similar to everyone else's opinions. And kind of talk about those as well and see where we kind of stand on if we're in line with those games and how addictive they are, or if we kind of have our own qualities of what we find addictive. Okay. So yeah, should I start with the IGN list first to get the juices flowing, or should we just talk about what we think?
Just start with the list, I think.
Okay. So we're going to start with this list real quick. Again, this is from IGN. This is their opinion, but I looked at a couple lists just to kind of get an idea of what people consider the most addictive games, and they're all pretty much these games. So number 10 on here is Overwatch. I'm not going to read the description of that, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Overwatch is very popular. A lot of people play it, and I know some people who play it very regularly. Then and in that game, I would say definitely the gameplay. I think the social aspects and the characteristics of the way it looks are probably big factors, but also, unlocking aesthetic stuff is definitely a huge pull. Then we got number 9, Destiny 2, which I think is interesting to see on this list. Destiny pretty much hits two major itches, I think, or scratches two major itches, in my opinion, which one is really tight, good first-person controls, and then an overall MMO feeling. You get the social aspects, you get the loot, which is huge for me, and progression, something to work towards. Plus it has end game, dungeons, stuff like that, raids. Then we got Fortnite, which I think is also a huge social pull. It's also free to play, so a lot of people can hop in and play it. Ever expanding, ever changing world and things to unlock. So, yeah. Then we got Rainbow Six Siege. So weird how big Rainbow Six Siege is, because I was one of those people. I played the beta. I played the fuck out of the beta. I loved it. Yeah. Bought it when it came out. Played it. Loved it. Came back. Played it again. Loved it. I don't play it at all anymore. It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's so weird that I don't play it, because I liked it a lot. At this point, I feel like I'd just be left behind. But this one's interesting to me outside of the tactical gameplay and team-oriented gameplay. I'm curious on what the addictive factor of this game is, outside of just really enjoying what this game offers that other games don't. It still has very original ideas that other games don't have. That's just a really interesting one for me because as a fan of it, I didn't expect it to blow up, and it's giant.
People probably won't like hearing this, but the one thing I think that Fortnite and the one that's coming up have in common is just the pure competition factor.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that is true. And then number 6, we have CSGO, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, which is also interesting. Counter-Strike's always been really popular and has had a huge following. And this is also a game that took a little bit to get its legs because when it first came out, the first like year or two, I played it and I enjoyed it. It had a pretty small community. It had like Counter-Strike fans playing it, and that was about it. Now a lot of people play this game. And I think a lot of this also has to do with the esports aspect of it as well, giving it, eyes on it and stuff. So, but Counter-Strike's always been really good just because it is a skill-based game. It is fucking skill-based. It's tactics. It's how good you are at shooting and aiming and essentially besting people because it's not a hero shooter, so you don't get specials and stuff like that. You just pick your loadout and go. Then we got number 5, Hearthstone. I assume the collecting aspect of this would probably be an addictive factor.
only thing I could think of.
And then you get people who like card games, although I hear really mixed things on Hearthstone. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Then number 4, we got League of Legends. Another one that's just the competition aspect that gets people playing it. It's funny because a lot of the games I find addictive aren't games like these typically. It's really weird.
Yeah.
So it's all these I'm hearing. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but I don't really identify with really almost any of these.
For sure.
So, but yeah, League of Legends, you have a bunch of characters. It's free to play, which is also another huge factor here. Their list is almost should be fucking the most popular free to play online games, and not the most addictive. But
easiest to access.
but I know a lot of people who have played League of Legends and some that still do, and there's just a lot to offer. The competition aspect, the skill building, and then unlocking characters and stuff. And then same thing goes for their number 3, which is Dota 2. I haven't seen Dota in a while. I haven't played either of these games in a long time, so I don't know where they're at now. But I'm pretty much gonna mirror what I said about the last one. It makes sense in that regard. And then we got Final Fantasy 14, number 2.
I'm actually a little surprised to see that.
Me too. I mean, you guys can both speak on this game because you guys played a lot.
Sure, but the whole list has been competitive games for the most part, so this is kind of weird to see for me.
Yeah. But I think it's fair, and Final Fantasy doesn't get quite the praise it really deserves because it's a really big game. But yeah, it's an MMO. MMOs are social experiences that you are progressing towards. Armor, weapons, endgame, raiding, doing all that stuff. So it makes complete sense for this to be on this list. And then number 1, World of Warcraft, which has been the king of MMOs for a long time, even though it is definitely exists as a smaller part of its former self. It definitely, at one point had like 12 million fucking people playing it. So. And follows the same thing. It's an MMO, and it's one of the best examples of how to make an MMO, regardless if you like it or not. It's did everything right pretty much outside of its expansions. I know some people are upset with certain ones
For sure,
but
I mean, right place, right time, right hook. Everything was there. It just the magic happened. So, and it has been, it still is, the top in its game for. God, how many years has it been out now?
Says with over 15 years of content updates.
Yeah, so long time. So
it's crazy.
That is impressive.
Yeah. So, any of these games, do you find yourself getting that addictive hook to? Anything on here that you would argue against? I mean, it'd be kind of hard to argue against for other people, but for yourself, possibly.
I would say I can argue for myself, but everything on this list makes sense for different reasons. The one thing I have kind of said a little bit over the last couple years and have definitely seen is, and I do think it is a huge attribute to esports being such a thing. Competitive gameplay has blown up,
Yeah, it's
over
crazy.
years. And yeah, and it is crazy because like that's like kind of where like PC gaming like started, you know, playing
Well,
like Quake
and-
2 days and stuff like
and
that.
it exists in a way that it did not exist when it was also popular before. Because
Yeah.
competitive used to be just like competitive shooters. Now there's different genres that can be competitive that aren't necessarily. Even battle royales don't play the same as if you're playing like CS:GO.
For sure. And I think there is that thrill, which is the same reason I even like I find myself enjoying watching people play things like your Dead by Daylights, or even like watching you play Hunt and stuff like that. There's a stress factor and like that relief that you get to feel alongside the person playing, essentially, when they do well. So
Victory feels much more rewarding when it was difficult to earn.
yeah, and competition, you're not going to find harder competition than another human being.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that-
unless you're playing against an AI that's unfair. But yeah.
yeah, but
Right, right.
there's no thrill there. That's frustration at that point, you know.
Oh yeah, it's stupid.
And I think that's a huge hook for a lot of people to get that rush of that victory. And I would argue that Fortnite is like chasing that dragon because there's only one winner,
Yep.
and you get to be king for a moment. Like, and I'm sure it feels amazing. So, and that's that rush you're after. So,
Oh, dude, everyone in every battle royale ever, as soon as they get their first one, they fucking go, yes! And then after that, they cross their arms and they look at you and they're like, have you gotten yours yet? Have you won yet? First place? You gotten it yet?
yeah, it's just pure dopamine.
And they never get one again. But after that one, they've joined a club now, and they're
yeah.
just like they just like look down on everyone else who hasn't done it yet. They're like, "You done it?" I'm like, "I don't even play that game."
well, and then
Like, you haven't gone it
You
yet,
got
then?
that taste,
Right.
and you want it again.
Yeah.
So,
Some of them just quit right after that. I know some people were just like, "Well, I got my first place. I'm done playing this game."
well, they're the ones who tried the hard stuff and were like, okay, I know what it's like to talk about it, but I know what happens.
Did acid once.
Yeah. So I get it. I'm the wrong person though, because like I don't get thrill from competition. I actually get like anxiety and like
Oh, I get sweet anxiety too.
and to the point. And I'm the type of person. I'm not a thrill chaser. Like in real life, in games that it translates into games for me. So like, you know, some people like to drive real fast, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? This is dangerous. We'll die. Like, I don't want to do that. So I don't want to do that in games either half the time.
I've had friends who are like, "Hey, you wanna jump out of a plane with me?" I'm like, "No,
Fuck that.
I'm
Yeah.
not interested."
Absolutely not.
I'm
So-
sure it's great, and that's fine. To each their own, but
Yeah.
that's not for me.
You can get me on a roller coaster. I like that.
This is true.
Yeah. But like, yeah, most time I'm not looking to like adrenaline. If my adrenaline's just going up, I'm like, get that back down.
That is really weird. Like, just as someone who's known you for fucking 33 years, you don't like anything adrenaline based, but you like roller coasters. I've seen it my whole life. You're like, "Oh, I like roller coasters. You'll get on there. I'll get on there too. I'll fucking, my head's flying around. I get a headache. I get off. I'm like, oh, and you're just like, oh, it's fun. I'm like, the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I don't get that. For
Yeah,
some
it's
reason,
weird.
I like roller coasters. So, but so the same translates to games. Competitive games is really difficult because like the moment I'm in a situation where I know I'm against another person, my adrenaline's like, it's like I don't like this feeling. I don't like this feeling. So, yeah, I can play some competitive stuff, but it usually needs to be pretty large scale. Like, I was a big fan of like Halo large team battles, for example, where you kind of just get lost. Battlefield's a great one for
you do,
me.
yeah, I'll say you do better in larger team FPSs because you like to be like a cog in the machine, but not the machine.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of translates to my opinion of myself anyways, is I don't ever want to be center of attention. I just
Yeah.
want to kind of do my own thing. Leave me alone.
I don't either. I don't want to go fuck it. I don't want to be noticed, but if I have to be, I work better under pressure. So when I'm playing like Search and Destroy Hardcore and like Call of Duty and I'm the last dude alive, I play better. Because I know people are, I don't give a fuck about the people watching, but I'm just like, I'm the only way we can win now. And I'm like, I have to be extra fucking careful. When I'm playing Hunt or whatever, I'm just like, you know, there's only 2 of us on a team. And if one of my guys gets dropped, now I got to fight 2 people who I have, you know, double the chance of getting shot in the head by these people and shit. And I just get way sharper when that happens. It's one of the reasons why I've gotten better at playing Hunt as opposed to when I just kind of go by the fucking numbers of Call of Duty, because I'm just trying to unlock the guns. I'm unlocking all the skins, all the shit. You know, I'm just kind of sitting back and playing after work, shooting
Well, there's
people,
a real
having fun.
penalty there.
There's no penalty when you die. Yeah, but in Hunt, I lose everything. So it's like,
I die in Final Fantasy. I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
God damn it.
So out of the necessity, I've had to get better, and that,
And I
is
get
a cool
that.
factor,
Versus
yeah.
like, to actually use MMOs as an example, when you played old school Final Fantasy 11 and you died, you lost experience, you could down level. So there was like a
I
punishment.
missed that.
Yeah, there's no punishment in most MMOs. Most of them just make it as an excuse to be a money sink because MMOs need those anyways. Otherwise, everyone becomes rich. So, in fact, I would argue 14 needs some more money sinks. But that being said, to move past like competitive for me at least, I'm gonna kind of go into the mixed one now, like where we want to talk about like Overwatch and like Hearthstone and stuff like that. There's a competitive factor there, but I also think there is a huge casual and social factor there, which is very important in those.
The one thing I noticed on that whole fucking list though was social factor.
Yeah, and that is huge. I mean, that's a big reason I played World of Warcraft for a long time, but I didn't necessarily enjoy WoW like to the point where like, you know, if all my friends stopped playing, I would have been done. Like that would have been it for me.
For the years that you played WoW on and off, you were never talking it up.
Yeah, I was
You were
playing
always
with
just playing because
people.
you were always talking about your guild.
Yeah, versus like 14, like I enjoy playing. Like I don't need. I kind of said this, and Scream took it kind of. Yeah, I doubt he took it actually seriously, but he was like, "Oh wow, okay." But I was like, "I don't need you guys here to enjoy myself. Like I enjoy this
Damn,
game."
fucking twist the blade.
So, it is more fun with people, but I don't need the people in that game. Versus like when I played WoW, I needed those people, right?
Yeah.
So social is a huge factor in a lot of games. I mean, PSO2 is coming out soon, and though I'll enjoy myself, I'm going to enjoy it more with people. That is definitely
It's social though.
social, yeah, and that's a huge factor. And I think Overwatch and Hearthstone are great examples of that. And then collectability in both those games. You're collecting things, and that really is a strong thing. I mean, Pokemon is huge, and that game is literally collecting things.
See, that's where you lose me when it comes to the idea of being an addictive game. Is I'm not a big collector.
I'm not
So
in most games.
if I'm already passionate about something, if you go into something knowing it's going to be a collection game, that's not enough for me. But in like real life, I'm not a big collector, but if I'm really into it, like cameras, I own too many cameras and I'll buy more cameras. And people are like, why do you need all those cameras? I'm like, I like them.
Yeah.
And like berserk shit.
Yeah.
If I see something that's berserk, I'll buy it because I'm already invested. So I'm into collecting in certain things, but going into a game where it's like you got to collect all the Pokemon, you got to collect all the cards, you got to collect, you got to get a platinum, you got to find all the things in every level and stuff. Like that's not something that's. And again, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying there's good or bad, right or wrong when it comes to this. I'm just not particularly into collecting things. So that's never a factor. Like Overwatch, I feel like it really upsets me that I'm not super into Overwatch because it looks great, it plays great. I like the idea of it. It is a competitive game, but the rewards are really cool aesthetics, and that for me personally is not a thing that I'm after.
And yeah, and that's where I'm at too. Is there are certain things where collection does work. Pokemon's a big one for me. I love Pokemon.
But the cool thing about Pokemon though is there's still a utility use to the collection.
Yes, that's exactly
Right,
it.
right.
The Pokemon
They have
are
their
the
own
RPG.
stats. They
Yeah.
have their own
That's
stuff
the
going
RPG.
on, yeah.
So there's the factor, like when we're playing Temtem.
Yeah.
It's exciting because you're getting new things that all look cool, and it's like this like exploration journey where you're like,
Yeah.
oh fuck, I've never seen this Pokemon, this Temtem, now I got it. But also now that you have it, you're not just like, woohoo, fucking Animal Crossing with it, but you're also like, get in there and fight, boy, and fucking you're hitting it and fucking it's going attacking shit, making them fight like dogs.
Well, and then and so to bring that back to Overwatch, you get cosmetics that
Good transition.
Well,
No, that's my fault.
that's fine. I just,
Bring it back to Overwatch.
just to finish my point on that is
so itchy.
there is unlockables, which is for me a huge factor. I need unlockables to like really get like the hook, but they don't actually do anything for you.
Yeah.
And though I love cosmetics in games, I think that is always a nice like icing on the cake. It's not the reason I want the cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then that just kind of misses for me. And Hearthstone's big thing is, at least it used to be, I have not touched it in a long time, but it used to be, it had like an offline mode, but it was like so shallow that there's no reason for me to play. I don't want to play against people. I don't care. I want to like try, play a match or two of the card game. And that's fine. But I don't know. I think I was more into cards when I was younger than I am.
You're way more into cards when you're younger. You're not
Yeah.
really into cards anymore.
Yeah, I used
You
to play
be
a
into
ton
it.
of Magic the Gathering growing up, and even now, like I can't even fathom like playing Magic the Gathering, and I did really enjoy that. So, so I've fallen out of that for sure. So that factor's just not there for me either. And I'm not saying anything negative about Hearthstone either. It obviously is doing something right. So,
Yeah, just to be clear for anyone who's, because we're talking about big games here. Anyone who's part of these communities or fandoms, we're talking about purely our opinions on this, and we're not saying if we don't
Personal
like it,
addictive
it's
qualities, yeah.
bad. We're not saying that at all. I just want to be clear about that because I know some people can get protective.
I don't think you could literally pick any game on the list and call it bad. Like,
No, there's not one bad game on the list. And I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people would argue Fortnite's bad. I would argue otherwise. I don't think it's bad.
I don't think there's anything there
I'm
me.
not interested in
all.
it. I'm not into it. Yeah, but
yeah,
it's not bad.
You can't call it a bad game.
Yeah, that game's supported better than fucking almost any game out there.
But yeah, so and then I guess like the two that did work for me on that list really is Destiny 2 and Final Fantasy 14. With Destiny 2, and you kind of said it, the shooting feels good.
Yep.
Oddly
enough, when I tell people that, like, one of the reasons Call of Duty is Call of Duty, people are like, well, it's popular, I don't like it. Well, it doesn't matter. There's still not a first-person shooter that really rivals Call of Duty in the way it fucking plays. Call of Duty is a fucking tight-ass shooter. And if you're a fan of shooters, not just someone coming into it...
lost Chris.
So anyway, Call of Duty is a tight-ass shooter, and that's one of the biggest factors to it of its success outside of brand, outside of that it's existed for a long time, outside of it used to have great games that a lot of people agree were the good ones, and then some people faded off from it, and it seems like some people are coming back. But all in all, part of the whole machine of Call of Duty has been how well it plays, and there's not a whole lot of shooters that really compete with it when it comes to that in the way that if you're into first-person shooters, you will understand that factor because there's a lot of them out there that just don't play as well as Call of Duty. That being said, Destiny and Destiny 2 are one of the only games out there that and Halo, I'll actually say kind of is on the same level as Call of Duty in the sense that Bungie knows how to play or make a shooter. So they have the shooting mechanics down in Destiny 2. It is a very good feeling first-person shooter. It feels really sharp. All the guns have a good punch to it. There's a lot of good impact to the weapons. All the grenades are punchy. They throw things when they die, just like in Halo. And so, when we're talking about Destiny 2, outside of the MMO mechanics, being a good shooter, it really is understated on how good Destiny 2, regardless if you like Destiny 2 or not, regardless if you like Call of Duty or not, these are some of the best feeling mainstream first-person shooters that exist.
For sure. And that's a huge factor of obviously like the enjoyment of Destiny 2. And then like, a lot of games and another addictive quality that these games have is obviously the leveling progression and then the getting new gear that has stats. And in Destiny's case specifically, the guns all feel very different, especially when you start getting into the uniquely named ones and they have these like interesting effects. It's not as crazy as like Borderlands, but like it's still like they weren't afraid to be like a little out there with some of the weapons, which I really appreciate because it gives you, not only do you have a trophy, but now it also like does something different from the rest of the guns, which is a factor. Like you get to go, look at this cool thing I have. My only long-term issue with Destiny, the thing I think it's missing, and I think a lot of it has to do with the pace of the game too. You get to the end so fast, and then you run out of stuff to do.
Well, there's things you can just do over and over again forever.
Yeah.
That'll go towards something, but it feels less rewarding when you get to the end because you get there so quickly.
Yes, and I think that's getting into the faux MMO, like the looter shooter genre. That's a problem in that genre in general. They all let you get to the end, and then you're like, well, I guess we just kill each other now. So
yeah, the pacing and sense of progression happens too quickly. There's no, they haven't fine-tuned that yet.
But I love the journey every time. Every one of these games I've played, super fun to play. So someone needs to.
I love faux MMOs. I just, they always end so empty feeling.
Yeah.
That like I enjoy the journey. I love that they're a hybrid of like a single player cooperative game and an MMO. But yeah, I just never feel fulfilled by the time I'm done with it. But the whole journey is always really fun. So it's frustrating because the genre is pretty much there.
Yeah.
They just haven't nailed how to keep you invested at the end. And it's like you could just mimic MMOs. There's a bunch of successful MMOs that have been doing it forever. And even they eventually run into a point where they got to release an expansion. But people at least are like satiated from that end game much longer than in like a fucking Division or Anthem or fucking Destiny or whatever.
Well, and realistically, and I'm actually stealing this from another YouTuber, but the people who play these games and consume them at the rate that you run into that problem, you can't actually ever please them. They're just always gonna be hungry. So you just have to find a point where like, how long can we starve them before they just don't come back? So
well, because you can't just fucking put out content nonstop.
No, it's impossible.
And then if you did find a way to, everyone's learned this lesson, it seems, at this point, but if you pump out content fast, when you try and promise people, oh, we got weekly, bi-weekly, fucking monthly content coming out all the time, it's so minimal of what it is, because you can't, people think for some reason the shit just gets made out of fucking thin air. It's like people have to make the assets. They have to make it work. They got to fucking make sure the numbers work correctly so it's balanced. You can't just, and then how many fucking new guns is going to keep you interested? They got to come up with new fucking locations and new story arcs and all sorts of shit, and that takes time. So yeah, you got to make a solid end game that'll keep people staying in it for a while you have time to, months, a year, 2 years to fucking work on the next chunk, essentially.
Yeah, and I think to specifically speak on the side of the Final Fantasy 14, they do an on schedule, every so many months patch cycle, and then every 2 years expansion cycle. So there's always an expectation of content, and the amount of it is usually you know what to expect. So, but I think a lot of these companies are starting to take this approach too. I mean, we kind of talked about it before with Path of Exile as well. They have like a schedule they release content on that seems to be like the thing you need to do. And I think, and I know Destiny, Bungie's in a weird position because they went from being funded to self-funding. And so they have to find that rhythm. So hopefully they do. Because I always hear like it's a roller coaster of emotions with that game, man. So fortunately I don't play it consistently. So every time I come back in, I'm like, I'm having fun. So.
Yeah. I want to dial it back to the addictive qualities of what we find addictive in games. So far, though, for me and you, it sounds like we've kind of dialed in what we don't find addictive in these games that other people might find addictive. We've discussed what probably is the addictive quality for them, but what's not for us, and why we are not part of those communities. But do you have anything to add to that, Chris? Any of the games on there outside of Final Fantasy 14 that you have opinions on?
Competition isn't a big factor for me personally. I know it's a big human factor in general. I think that's what these games really tap into, is the human need for competition and to socialize around those competitions. And I'm more of like the socializer around the competitions. I played very few sports growing up, and so like that competitive factor has never been a hard drive for me. So that's probably why I don't enjoy a lot of these games myself, to be honest.
I didn't play fucking sports either in my whole life. When I was a kid, every year, like, people would look at me and be like, "You got broad shoulders. You want to play football?" I'm like, No,
absolutely not.
And then the next year, somebody like, "Hey, you look like you'd be good at football. You want to play football?" I'm like, "No."
You're like, I don't like concussions.
I'm like, "Bro, dude, I got these are artist hands, okay? I don't fucking, I ain't damaging them for no one, okay?
Yeah, I'm real weird about my hands too.
I create things.
And
I don't break them.
Just can't play without them.
Yeah, that's true. So Final Fantasy 14 is on that list, which I think was kind of a surprise for everyone. Without jumping into a Final Fantasy 14 discussion, what are the factors of Final Fantasy 14 that are addictive to you guys?
Well, for me personally, the thing that I think is an addictive factor in all games, it's a really good way to get me going in games, is progression, leveling progression. Even though it's just numbers technically, there's something that feels good about hitting those checkpoints.
It's still a metric of success.
And knowing you're getting stronger. Yeah. And that doesn't last forever. Eventually you get tired of leveling. So there's a pace that is definitely needed there. And to be honest, specifically talking about 14, sometimes I don't want to do it. Sometimes I'm just feeling like, oh God, I just don't want to level right now. So, but overall, it is a positive in any game. I like it in Destiny. I like it in 14. I liked it in WoW. I like it in offline games. Like, leveling is great. And then equipment, getting constant equipment that, will increase my stats, change my appearance. And, there's an excitement factor to getting something. And I think that is also something, and that is another pace thing. I think there are MMOs, to use them specifically, that don't give gear often enough, and some just give it to you so quickly, Torchlight 2, that you don't get to savor it.
Cheapens it, yeah.
Yeah, so I think 14 has a good pacing in that, but they learned that over time. That wasn't the case in the beginning. So, and that's really important. And then when you're done leveling, the big addictive factor is like, are the activities that don't involve leveling fun to do? Is there a challenge? Because challenge is important. So is there something to overcome? Is there something to earn? Is there the trophy to have? Those are important things as well, and they still increase your stats, but not necessarily a lot, just enough to be like you're still getting something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right. It's not a hollow victory.
Yeah. Other than that, it's the live-in social qualities that I think are important, and it's a huge reason I love stuff like PSO2 or like Phantasy Star in general as a series. I mean, most of my fondest memories in online games, whether they're MMOs, whether they're your survival games like your Conan Exiles or anything like that, it's just like dicking around with people, man. Like that is, those are memories, and you don't get to have those if the game doesn't give you the systems to have them. So
well, and social games allow you to have a dynamic situation every time you play with people, so that you can actually have an experience that can't be repeated.
Exactly.
An experience that someone else didn't have, so you now have a story. Whereas like if you're playing a game that you're going to be the first level of this game and it's going to go the same as the other person. Did you beat it? Yeah, I beat it. Okay, cool. Did you ever make it to level 5? Yeah. There's no choice. Nothing happened there. And specifically when you're playing a game with other people, that also broadens what can happen in that. When I used to play, I mean, even Conan, but like when I play like Hunt or when I used to play DayZ a lot, the social element of that game only emboldened the experience even further than the random aspects of what loot I found, if I was starving to death, if I got hurt from a zombie, if blah 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 is the random encounters with people, whether they're good or bad, or in Hunt, how it went about, who my partner was, how they're acting, what they said. In an MMO, if you're doing a raid with a great team of people who are awesome and all work together really well, or you got that random guy who made the whole situation fucked up and you failed, or you still won, but they made it difficult, but you still managed to make it. These are all factors that make all these situations more compelling, and I think that compelling aspect adds to you wanting to get back in there and play it again, because you want to have more experiences and more stories to tell.
For sure. And then the other thing to add, actually, should be, and then I'll shut up for a little bit here, but
That's fine.
the one thing that 14 has that you don't really see generally in the MMO space, but you see a little bit, you see it in Destiny 2, and then you see it in games like your Borderlands 2, for example, which is like the same reason you watch TV or read a book. It's the story. Like there's an investment you get to have, and you are that main character. You are the main character in Borderlands 2, or you're actually part of a greater group in Borderlands 2, I should say. In 14, you are the main character, and eventually you are part of the group as well, which I kind of like. I really like the creativity and storytelling that they get just better and better at in that game. And then, any game, like if you can, Destiny 2, I don't like all the stories in Destiny 2, but sometimes I'm like, that was really interesting. Like, as much as I'm not a huge fan of the, I'm gonna get the planet wrong, but the Osiris stuff, I thought the story behind that, though, I was like, that was really kind of intriguing. I like that. It's short and simple, and I got to experience it. It was fun, but I remember that aspect of that more than playing it. So
Yeah,
and I think that's important. So
for sure. Chris, any thoughts?
Social aspects are really important for me in Final Fantasy. Like, if I was playing by myself, I could do it, but I wouldn't enjoy it as much. It's really getting to play with other people. Like, I'll stop what I'm doing in Final Fantasy to play with other people. and that's a factor in most of the games I really enjoy playing is being able to just play with my friends. That's the whole reason I play games. I don't play there just to be by myself. I mean, I can placate myself playing by myself, but the social factors are really important for me. And the other thing that really draws me to the Final Fantasy in particular is the character customization, and I use that a lot. But to fine tune it, it would be like I can play my character however I want to play it. If today I want to tank, tomorrow I want to DPS, next minute I want to heal, I can switch on the go however I want to do it, and I can make my character literally look however I want based on things that I've done in game. Like I've gone out and gathered all this armor, and now I can make my character look like this aesthetic, or I've done these like time limited events that give me this piece of gear that's just for looks, but I can dye it and apply it to other pieces of armor, and together make this cool, unique looking character, which is really important to me, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting way to put it. That game allows you to look and play the way you want with your friends, essentially. So that hook of just earning more to have even more freedom to play a game that you enjoy any way that you want. And that comes into having the job system that allows you to hop around jobs so easily. You don't have to make multiple characters for different classes and stuff like that. And then, all the stuff you've earned, all the aesthetic stuff you're wearing, and then, being able to play with people. So that's an interesting point to why that would be such a pull for you. So,
And the combat system, well, it's very like reminiscent of older MMOs. It's pretty similar to how most MMOs do their combat system. There are some things that like you can. It's kind of like puzzle solving, and I guess that's the raid seed in most MMOs when you're first doing it. But it just feels so unique to me in that, like, I've played World of Warcraft back in the day, and when I was raiding it, it was way back, like Burning Crusade, like way back in the day. And your tells were mostly things of like the boss is now casting this move, whereas like in Final Fantasy, it's a little more easy to interpret at some points when you get conal attacks and they have large indicators on the ground, and how you handle those is so wide and varied. It feels like when I played WoW back in the day, it was very much like this is the exact strategy of how to do this, and this is how we do it every single time, cut and paste. Otherwise, you're going to lose. Whereas like currently in Final Fantasy, you can just employ so many different tactics that it just feels so unique and varied every time I raid.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously, like, people are gonna hone down like the optimal way to do it, but that doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. So.
Yeah.
Right. Just from my past experience of old Warcraft, because I haven't played really hardcore raiding in a long time. That was the thing, was like, this is what the people do, and this is how we do it. There's no other variation to it. And that could just be in the groups I was in, and not to like downplay Warcraft, because I'm sure the raiding scene is great and varied. But in past experiences, it was just very like, this is how you do it. There's no variation to it. You deviate, we lose.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to tie this. How does that tie into addictive quality?
The puzzle solving aspect of being able to have various solutions to one puzzle is really enjoyable to me. That way I can have my creative, I use the term creative. I like to think of myself as a creative person, but be able to creatively solve solutions in games is really important to me.
Gotcha.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, MMOs have all those factors. I mean, so much of it is social when it comes to the hook and then when it comes down to just the way the game looks, if you're vibing with that, but also classes and all that kind of stuff. But outside of the MMO sphere, it starts getting kind of interesting when I think about addictive quality, because like anybody who's playing like a single player third person action game has a really good story, they're going to be really into it, they're going to be really invested, they're going to want to beat it, and then when they beat it, they're done. So it's almost hard for me to call that an addictive game, because maybe the story, you being compelled by the story is the addictive quality, but you're not coming back to the game all the times to play it again.
Binging.
Yeah, exactly. It's like watching a good TV show and then you're done with it.
Yeah.
And so like, those kind of games, I don't really view as being addicted to them. Although I guess you could, if you go right back in and play it. Like when I beat Death Stranding, I start playing it even more after I beat it, just because I'm one of the weirdos that enjoyed playing that game. But But yeah, so it's interesting that a lot of that addictive quality comes with games that almost have like an endless feature to them for the most part. They allow themselves to be more
open-ended.
more open-ended, but allow you to play it further and for longer. So I'm thinking about the two games that did we lose Chris again? All right, if you notice the cut that we've had a couple times in this episode so far, the internet in Washington, I hope it's just here, is fucking up a lot, and we're having some technical difficulties, so we apologize for that. Continuing the conversation from where I remember it, I was trying to bring it back to right now. I have two games that are, I would say, highly addictive for me. They're the games that I'm constantly thinking about to the point where there's other games that I have obligations to play that I have played already, but I still need to play some more of. And then other games that I was really enjoying a lot and I want to play them further, but the other side of my brain's like, don't worry about those games. You want to play these games. And that's what I mean by addictive, in the sense of I need to play it. I want to play it. And that's, I've talked about it before, so I won't talk about the games themselves too much, but Hunt Showdown and Conan Exiles, I'm playing both those right now. And those are the only two games I really want to play right now. And so when I was thinking about it, I was like, these games are actually very different. So there's not just like the one formula to make it work for everyone, of course, but also specifically just for me. Like I could easily go, I like progression. That is true. If you want me to play your game, have some kind of leveling in it that has rewards for leveling, and you're gonna get me to want to play it. Add loot to that. I'm gonna enjoy it. If it's cheap loot, it's like not that great stuff, I'll still play your game. If it's awesome, cool, rare stuff you can find, legendary stuff you can find, individual items, definitely will want to play that. If you got co-op in there, definitely gonna want to play that. So those are all really easy factors for me to kind of throw in there. But then I think about Hunt Showdown. Hunt Showdown is a you're versus NPCs, but also against other people. You lose a lot if you die. There is leveling, but I don't play it for that. A lot of the items that are higher level items, I could kill somebody and take it from them. You can find them randomly. There's ways to get this stuff without unlocking it. So when you do unlock it, you're just like, okay, now I have access to that. Still got to spend money on it though. And then if you die, you lose it. I mean, you could literally spend $1,000 on a fucking weapon in that game, die, and then that weapon, you might have not have even shot a bullet out of it. So unlocking stuff only makes you more well-rounded in what you have to equip in your tool set, but it's mostly the gameplay that I really enjoy in that game. And that makes me think about all the times I've gotten really addicted to games. It's one genre isn't stagnant yet almost. It's like new ways to play, new ways of gameplay. Gameplay is it sounds so vague and basic, but gameplay is super addictive to me. If you offer me a way to play a game that I'm not used to and it's really fun to do, and you're the best example of me to be able to play that style of game, I'm going to want to do it. We played that push the button game that we've talked about many times now. It's just a fucking random game on Jackbox. And it was really fun. And I was like clamoring on like, how can I get more of that experience? That was really cool. So now I'm playing Project Winter, which I don't think is as good as Push the Button, but it's still fun. But that's a gameplay. It's a type of gameplay I wasn't getting before. So I'm thinking about it more often. It's like when Grand Theft Auto 3 first came out. I could not stop playing that fucking game. It was the first time I had access to a 3D city that I could run around, drive cars into shit, shoot people, do missions, stuff like that. And now it's a pretty basic experience. But when it first came out, when I first had access to that, I was addicted. When I first played the DayZ mod, I was fucking addicted. There's still not very many games like it, but there's no games like it back then. To be able to live in this world, survive, have to scavenge for food, water, use your wits to make sure you didn't die, protect other people you're playing with, encounter other people that might be friendly, might not be friendly. I ran into it all. Got betrayed by people in that game. That was an experience that I could not get anywhere else, and not an experience I want to live in real life at all. That's the fucking last thing I want to do in real life is fight for my life and hope I can trust people. But to experience that in a game format is something that you can't offer me that experience in a movie. You can't offer that in a book. I can read someone else's story, but in that game, it's my story. So I wanted to get back in there and experience that out of curiosity. Hunt's the same. It's every fucking match is different. I'm gonna run into different people. I'm gonna play with different people. I'm gonna have different outcomes. I might have awesome outcomes. Might have shitty outcomes, but I'm constantly just trying to chase that experience, and the rewards in that game are so high risk that you lose a lot, but you can gain a lot by doing that, and that is an experience that I'm not getting from other games. That's a big factor when I keep talking about this game. It's not something I'm getting from a lot of games. The only game I bring up when it comes to this is like DayZ and Tarkov. Those are the other games that are like high risk, high reward. The more you do, the more you can gain, but the more you can lose, and that's something I really enjoy. And something I think a lot of people have the balls to make. So I think that's one of the highest addictive factors of that game. Because otherwise, I mean, it's a fucking first-person shooter. There's a lot of them out there, and I like most of them. This one also happens to have the balls to be Western setting in a swamp with some really creative monsters and guns that I love. I love that era in guns. I love lever action guns. I love bolt action, single action, all that shit. It's a really cool era in guns, and it's in games like when I play Killing Floor and Killing Floor 2, I always liked using the lever action rifle because I love how satisfying it is to go boom and go boom and hit people in the head and shit. And this whole game is just that.
Yeah.
So it really just works for me. So that's the addictive factor to that is purely just the experience and the skill building. I kind of miss working at getting better at a game. I haven't done that in a long time. I mean, the last time I can remember doing that is like fucking Soul Calibur.
Well, fighting games will definitely do it
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. And then like way back in the day, I was really good at Halo 2. Then Halo 3 happened to me and I stopped. But Halo 2, like I was undefeated 1-on-1. I'd never fought anybody 1-on-1 and lost. And fucking, I just loved playing the game. So, I used to be really competitive, and this game has brought that out in me again. So it's really fucking cool. And then on a more expected basic level, but I think there's more to it, games like Conan Exiles, Ark, Minecraft, games like this really fucking speak to me because they give me elements of the survival dynamic aspects of playing a game like DayZ. They give you the social aspects, almost, in my opinion, more than an MMO, except for the driving factor of an MMO is like doing the raids together is like very socially bonding. Mm-hmm. But surviving in a world together or splitting for sure. But playing a game like Ark or Conan or Minecraft or anything like that, 7 Days to Die, something like that, is you're actually shaping the world. Mm-hmm. And all your actions are negatively or positively impacting other people. And you're sharing in these dynamic experiences with your friends.
If I may, the one thing I also think that the survival genre, because I assume that's what we'd put that into.
Yeah, technically.
And
even though for me it's like loose survival, but you can make the game harder.
Yeah. Well, I just to kind of lump them into something real quick for the sake of this. The survival genre and the MMO genre have, I think, and this is going to be a weird way to word this, but you get to be Frodo and go on that adventure.
If you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
you can spawn, live in one spot, and never leave.
I just think there's this appeal that like you get to live and explore somewhere. And I think that is the thing, because I like both those genres a lot. And I think that's a huge factor for both of those is like, there's a whole world out there, and that's kind of like the dream, I remember growing up playing games and like watching Star Trek and like, I can't wait for holodecks because I get to live and be in some other world. It's kind of the experience you're getting out of those. So I think that's a huge driving force too, is just the sheer, like, you're part of the world. So
yeah.
Right.
And then with the social aspect, you're sharing with other people and they're all sharing that story. Or even if you're not in the same part of the map as other people, you're all experiencing different things, but in the same world. It's all affecting each other. But then so that's an addictive quality for me, but also a game like Conan Exiles does it so well in the sense that we already talked about this earlier. Luckily, this whole episode's kind of about this. I love building stuff in games because, like Chris said, me and Chris are both creatively minded people for sure. Chevy's creative in some ways, but he doesn't really like to express himself too much.
Not my forte.
But so I love building stuff. I like if you give me the tools to make something, I'll make something, and so I'm gonna do that anyway. But then in this game, you get experience for everything you do. If you kill people, if you make items to build stuff, if you harvest stuff, everything that you do, if you're cutting trees down, breaking rocks, it's all giving you small pieces of experience. So that's a huge driving factor for me because I'm already doing something I want to do regardless of the experience, which is great. If your game can make me want to play it without leveling, you made a really good game. But then they're giving me the drugs too. They're like, hey, this is fun, huh? I'm like, yeah, it's really fun. Like, hey, how's this feel? I'm like, ooh, that's nice. You having fun, right? Yeah. You having more fun now? Yes. So now I have this project I want to work on, but I also know while doing this project I want to work on, I'm also going to get better. I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to get access to newer things to make the project even cooler. And it's for me, this formula is fucking crack. I mean, back when Minecraft came out, and it's hard to say when it was popular. It's been popular since it came out. It's always going to be huge. People still play a shitload of it. When it first came out, I was like, holy shit, I can fucking dig anywhere. I can build anything. I can do all this stuff. I can play Minecraft right fucking now. But there's not really like a progression system outside of your own personal progression. But the genre has evolved. I think Ark was fucking such a revolution in the genre. Because first off, it just was wild. And it's like, there's dinosaurs and machine guns in this. There's fucking lasers and missiles and fucking
iron fortresses with automated turrets while you're riding around on raptors.
And you can make it all. You can affect everything. And that was awesome. But then for me, I think Conan Exiles is a deeper, more third person action, even if you play first person, but third person action experience where you're locking onto stuff and the controls just feel more tight. They feel better than you'd get out of Ark, which feels like a cool idea that was executed, whereas Conan Exiles feels like a more finished game. A game with bigger ideas and more ideas that come from single player AAA games, but it happens to be multiplayer. And so the whole thing just kind of culminates. And I'm not even like, I don't have a past with Conan. I'm not like, yeah, fuck yeah, I love Conan, but I play it and I'm like, who gives a shit? I'm digging this.
So it's funny because I remember we have some friends who were really into this game, and me and you both were kind of like, it's Conan. Like,
I was interested, and I just didn't want to spend the money on it.
Yeah, and then we got it for PlayStation Plus. It was the same thing. Like there was interest there, but like he had no excitement really. Mm-hmm. And we started playing. I'm like, oh my god.
Yep. Yeah. Within the first hour or two, I was like, oh shit, okay. Because I was like, it's Conan, it's Ark, cool. I mean, it's Ark Conan, whatever. But then I started playing. I'm like, oh, this has some really good features. This is like a legit fucking game. Okay, holy shit. And so, right now, I can't speak for of all time, but right now, its formula is everything outside of story that I want out of a game. I'm not saying it's the perfect game, and I'm not saying it plays the best, but out of all the things that keep me playing a game, it has a lot of them.
The props to them, because there is lore spots all over the map too, so you can. There is story in the game. Yeah, it's really, I don't know. They really,
and there's world progression. there's fucking crazy fucking battles and fucking gods and shit. You can fight all sorts of crazy stuff. So I mean, I've put a lot of time to this fucking game, and I've barely scratched the surface because I'm just busy building my fucking my buildings, and there's a whole world of shit to go do, and I'm like, hold on, I just want to build this. Yeah, it's just a really, really. I'm not even here trying to talk about Conan. I'm saying the addictive qualities of this game are really great, and they really speak to me. And that's really any game that offers that. But again, going back, new ways to play games is also addictive for me. So if I experience something that I wasn't experiencing before, and I'm like, holy shit, this is a really neat idea, I'm going to play the fuck out of it. And then eventually, if it gets popular, that genre is going to burn out and I'll lose interest and I won't be addicted to it anymore unless someone comes up with a really good idea. But it seems to be a really big case for me. If there's new ways to play, I will, if I enjoy it, become addicted to it. Just because I like experiencing new things. I know it's really vague, but some people like have their genres they play. I have genres I lean towards, but anyone who watches the channel regularly knows I hop around all types of games a lot, and it's just because I'm looking for all these experiences that I can have, and once I find one that's just like, holy shit, this is a really good idea and this plays really fucking good, I'm gonna play the fuck out of it.
And that's his month.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Wolson was this year's been good so far when it comes to if there's one thing this year's done well, it's fucking 2 games I've been really into
Yeah.
so far. I'm hoping Cyberpunk will be one as well. I'm pretty sure it will.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a disappointment if it
Because
wasn't?
it's gonna be great regardless. But fucking addictive wise, I hope it pulls me in. Like when I first played Morrowind,
Yeah.
I could not stop playing it. It would just blew my fucking mind. And to this day, I still think it's a fantastic game. And like I could go back and play it. But like first showing up to fucking the first town and just fucking around there, hang out with Fargoth in a stupid fucking ring and the stump, and someone's like, "Sorry, that Fargoth guy took my ring," and then I'm up in the treehouse just watching him put it in the fucking stump shit. I'm like, this is a whole fucking world of events that are happening that I'm just experiencing. This is so fucking cool.
It's that adventure, man. That like for me at least, I like that.
Yeah.
So
And so, but then, fucking Oblivion came out, and graphically I was just enamored with that game. But then as I started getting close to beating it, I was like, I didn't have the same feeling as when I played Morrowind.
Copy paste.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And then Skyrim, I was like, okay, fuck, you guys are really just kind of done here, huh?
Well, in all fairness, they really refined that machine there. But a lot of the unique stuff that you enjoyed about Morrowind is gone now. So
Sure, yeah, because
Yeah.
they made it streamlined and made
Yeah,
it playable
exactly,
for everybody, which is
exactly.
great for everybody.
It is.
But I liked that deep RPG experience that Morrowind offered.
exactly.
And that sense of adventure and fucking no fast travel. You have to take the fucking why walk when you can ride fucking Strider fucking from this
Strider.
point to that point. And they're like, hey, you got to head like northeast to Balmora. And you're like, okay, where's that? Northeast. You start walking down the dirt road. You look at the fucking sign. It's like, oh, Balmora is this way. And then you're just like walking down this way. And you're like, I don't see a sign here. I'm just going to keep walking. Oh, shit. I ran into some bandits. Like you're having these adventures, these events that are happening that
100%.
wouldn't happen if you're just like, I got to go to this place. All right, click. I'm there.
Freedom to interact with the world as how you choose is really important. It is what the big factor is in a lot of these games. You can go that way, but you don't have to. If you want to continue that part of the story, go that way. Otherwise, you can go whatever direction you want and find more things to interact with, and figure out what you want to do. That's what I'm really liking about Conan right now. I mean, we keep going back to it, but I can do whatever I want, however I want.
Yep.
And this is really funny for me too because I also
Which
enjoy
is
that.
similar to what you said about Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, yeah, he just wants freedom to socialize,
play
and
how he
all
wants to play.
Exactly.
And I actually I share a lot of that with the adventure aspect, but it's funny because then I struggle with like I can't play like Grand Theft Autos or Red Dead or Witcher 3, for example, and people are probably gonna freak out about that one, but like I just can't play it. It's too free almost, but with things that are meant to be a driving force for like
But Conan Exiles is way more free.
But Conan is literally a sandbox versus
Okay.
Witcher has something I'm supposed to be doing, but I can't because I get too distracted the whole time, right? And I use that with any type game like that, not specifically Witcher. So I don't know, it's weird.
Well, that's one of the beauties
But I
of
also think-
JRPGs is they're way more linear
Structured.
in their structure. Yeah.
But I think also the thing with Conan too is I'm not playing Conan by myself. I'm playing with you guys, right?
Right.
So when I play a game like that, it is the social aspect, and I'm having an adventure with my friends versus in a single player game. Like I don't really have to drive to like figure out what I want to do as much because I prefer to just play with someone. So I think that's a huge part of that. I can enjoy that in a co-op sense.
Also, my experience of playing games like that with you, you typically work in tandem with me a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And we'll work on different things. So you are playing a structured game.
Yeah.
The world allows it to be open and random events will happen, but you still have an objective you're going after. So you have structure.
Yeah.
Right.
So, because like the objective is I'm trying to build up this place. We're trying to tame all the thralls
Yeah.
and fucking, and that takes this to happen.
And then
So,
eventually hit that wall, and like, how do we get past this wall? Well, we need to go find another resource.
Yeah.
Adventure
Yeah.
time.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
So there's a structure to it because there's an objective, and it's there's no side quest person when you're walking down the road. They're like, hey, I lost my chickens over in the woods to a werewolf. You want to go investigate that? And you're like, fine.
I mean, I don't, but I know you're going to reward me, so okay.
And then by the time you've done like 8 of the "Where's My Chickens" werewolf quest, fucking,
What the fuck was I doing?
you're gonna be like, yeah, what was the story again?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's this main character?
So,
What's his ambitions? So yeah, yeah. I mean, those are really big factors for me personally. Just when it comes, I mean, we're all on the same page when it comes to progression and stuff, but like, really just new experiences for me. It sounds like Chris is really just wants the freedom to be able to do what he wants and earn things towards that.
yeah, and I need objectives apparently.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So, I mean, because even 14, I'm usually trying to make an objective for myself.
Yeah.
What am I doing next? And then that's my plan for the day, and I do that objective. So, I need goals apparently.
Yeah, you definitely. It seems like you do. Just because I've watched you try and play like sandbox games and stuff, and you typically, I wouldn't say struggle. You just fall out of them quick.
Yeah.
Just because, yeah, they don't have.
I just need something to work towards.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, anything else you guys want to add to that? When it comes to addictive qualities and what's addictive to you, and I mean, what's anti-addictive to you? Like, what's something that's just like repulses you, gets you away from a game? You guys don't like competition, although you will play competitive games
I will
every
play
once in a while.
competitive games.
I mean, I play Overwatch, so I'm not opposed to competitive games, but just not drawn towards them.
I mean, the easy one for me is scares. Not interested.
Yeah.
Not interested.
Well, that's like when I was talking about like, oh, it'd be cool if they did like a co-op mode hunt. I'm like, he still wouldn't play it
I'm not
because it's
touching
like
that
it's
game.
not because that game makes me jump and I don't jump very easy. So
Yeah. So, and that's a huge turnoff for me.
you'll just be high anxiety the whole fucking time, which I love, but
You're like,
that's how it is.
Why are you moving? I can't.
I play with fucking other people all the time, and fucking, as soon as I'm like, there's guys, I'm like creeping towards them and shit. I look back and they're just like, where? I'm like, they're over here, and they're like, over there. I'm like, yeah, like they're fucking right over here. And then I'm shooting at them. I look back and they're still just like, I can't see them. I'm like, yeah, because you're fucking behind the tree over there.
Yeah.
Like they just like they don't want to walk. Like I don't want to go. I'm like, well, we're gonna have a problem because this is the game.
Yeah.
This is what the game is.
Exactly.
You're gonna run into these people, and it's gonna be scary every time. But you gotta fucking beat them. It's scary for them too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that's a big turnoff for me, for sure. Yeah. And I guess like, I guess I would also say that initially, until I learn more about a game, when someone advertises a game as like a big open world, I'm like, like that's not necessary. That's not a turn on for me. But then like they say the kind of stuff you can do in the world, and I might get pulled in all of a sudden. So, but initially, it's not a good advertising word for me. So
Puzzle games are anti-addicting to me. They make me not want to play them.
yeah, okay, I agree with that.
And then, and that's a to each their own, because there's people who love puzzles.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
people have been solving puzzles since fucking the beginning of time. The humans want to fucking solve shit. So like the idea of like figuring out a puzzle, or when you're watching a movie and then it ends, and the whole time you've been pretending like you knew it was going to happen, and then something else happens, you go, I knew it was going to happen like that. You feel like you fucking conquered it. Like you're like, oh, they can't fool me. It's like, well, it's a fucking movie. Just enjoy the cinema aspect of it. No, I knew they were going to die. Okay. People always trying to figure something out. So, in everything. So, puzzle games make sense to me. They just don't work for me because the pacing. I don't like downtime. I don't want to sit there and go, And then when I finish it, I'm never like, I fucking did it.
Yeah.
I figured it out. Because the whole time I'm like, I know I'm going to figure this out. And when I'm done with it, I'm going to be fucking like, why? Why'd I do it? I finish, I'm like, finally, that's out of the fucking way. That's my mentality. So when I do a puzzle, I'm not like, oh god, I want to beat this. I want to figure it out. I'm like, I don't want to waste the time to figure this out and then be done with it. So just different way of looking at it. But also, might be controversial. An anti-addictive factor for me is a game that has minimal progression and collectibles. So if the only incentive is you get stuff, or you get to look a certain way more and more and more, but that's it, your game can be fun as fuck, but I already know what I'm getting into, and I will be less inclined to want to play it. And when I do play it and I get those unlockables and I go, oh, cool, I got a new winter coat. Oh, cool, I got new boots. About 5 unlocks in, I'm going to go, okay, this is the game. This is what I'm going to be doing. And again, not knocking anyone who enjoys this stuff. People obviously like this a lot. And I see the appeal. You put that on top of any other kind of progression system, awesome. It's such a good complementary system. But then I'm playing Project Winter, and that whole game's progression is aesthetics. But every time is a dynamic social situation.
Event, yeah.
That's what keeps me playing. So
Say a good example of a game that would be unappealing to you would be like Goat Simulator, where it's like all you're doing is unlocking like weird physics or cosmetics, but there's no real anything to the game, just being quirky and weird. Like,
yeah, there's nothing I'm working towards in that game, and the game's not good enough to play. In fact, when that game first came out, going back to I'm interested in new ways of playing, I played that game. I was like, oh, this is neat. And then it was over, and then I played again. I was like, I can't fucking stand this game. I don't want to play it. This game, it was a joke, and now it's even more of a joke because I don't want to play this shit. The joke's over. Yeah, or even like a game like Overwatch, which like I said before, is a great game. It's really well made. I like playing it enough, but like the unlocking factor of it isn't enough.
Yeah, you're gonna find like 5 minutes of enjoyment out of it.
Yeah,
it's not gonna grab you.
That's one thing about like Bleeding Edge that was interesting to me is you actually unlocked stuff that modified your character, and I'm like, oh, so there's now stuff I can add to my character that will change the way I can play.
Yeah,
and I dig that.
Well, and then that's even how like Call of Duty works. Like you were kind of explaining like how the weapon system works in the new Call of Duty, and I was like, oh, so like everyone gets like everyone's thing is different, and those are things you unlock and earn.
Yeah, you got the same gun as me, and our guns are kitted completely different.
Yeah, and so there is an appeal there because
it's an awesome system. Yeah.
So,
and each gun you're using, it levels independently, so there's just all this shit to fucking do.
Yeah, and I fall right into that too.
Yeah.
I cosmetics, like I said earlier, icing on the cake, but I'm not going to sit there and eat a tub of icing.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's a good way to put it. And again, that's not knocking the games or that system. Just if you were and if someone was to be like, well, why would you do different? I wouldn't. That's that game. But if there was a game like that came out with the same quality but had progression and that system, I would play that.
That might be the one. Yeah. Exactly.
Just because that's what I personally am going after when I play games.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, even MMOs are hit or miss. I mean, I've played pretty much every MMO that exists, but fucking certain ones hook better than others, and a lot of times it comes down to, you talked about this earlier, but like how often you're getting loot. Some of them are slower than others. Some of them are too
Pacing
fast.
is huge in MMOs.
Unlocking new skills, if it's like once every 10 levels or once every 2 levels, or in Final Fantasy, a lot of them you unlock through the story, and like or a lot of things you unlock through whatever job you're going through. It's all story based, but so like MMOs across the board aren't addictive to me at all. There's some people who just get really wrapped up in the idea of putting time into leveling an MMO, but certain ones can be. I mean, like I played Guild Wars 2 quite a bit back when I still liked ArenaNet and NCSoft, and I thought the gameplay of that was really fun. I really enjoyed that world. And I was playing Neverwinter. I play the shit out of that. Final Fantasy is something I have to kind of float in and out of, but I do enjoy it when I do play it. But then I've played a shitload of MMOs that like I'm just kind of going through the fucking motions to level, and I enjoy that enough. But like I would never call it addictive. I'm not sitting there when I'm at work going like, oh, I want to get home so I can fucking play that.
In fact, I'd argue most MMOs that we've ever tried, the moment like no one else was playing it, it was over.
Yeah, because one of the biggest factors of fucking MMOs is the social aspect. Most people don't want. I'm the only weird fucking person I know who will play an MMO by themselves. I'll just go in there and play for a while. I'll get to like level 20, level 30, and I'll bail, and I'll enjoy myself enough. But like, but yeah, it is always better with people because and now because MMOs are figured out, they know that, and it's always been the objective is to be a social experience, but because the science, the secret sauce is figured out, you everyone's going to have their guild systems. That it's all going to be built around this idea of eventually culminating into a group and working on objectives together if you've done your MMO correctly.
Yeah.
It's weird when games have guilds or whatever clans and there's not much to do as a clan outside of we're on the same team. Look, we all have the same clan tag. And you meet other people and they're like, oh, what clan are you? Oh, I'm in this one. I'm in that one. That's about as far as it goes. It's as deep as it is.
For sure.
It's always weird when I see that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Anti-addictive qualities? Anything
trying to
that just
think
makes
of
you,
things
just
that are
repulses you?
Well, I mean, other than like genres of games that I don't enjoy, it's really hard for me to
Well,
pinpoint.
what genre and what in that genre don't you like? Not the genre itself.
I'm not particularly fond of sports games, only because there is no sense of, for me, individual character progression. I think that's really important for me, is to feel like the character is unique to me and my progression. Whereas like in sports games, it's just kind of like, for me, it's like going through the motions personally. It's just not entertaining to me. And I've tried playing sports games, and I've tried playing some of the ones that are considered some of the best games out there for sports games, and they just don't do it for me at all.
Well,
I know some of them have, like...
The interesting thing
Sorry.
about sports is, and this is going to be kind of fucking vague, but it really, I think it's pretty straightforward. Sports have strict rules because they were made to be a game. And then you're playing that sport with those strict rules. So you have to like the sport and the rules and how it's played first off. And the only objective in a sport is to win.
Yeah. When you're
Yeah.
you're
You either
living
win
that
or
fantasy.
lose. And that's great. So if you're playing soccer, you're playing baseball, you're playing football, your only objective, and anyone who's super into sports is like, no shit. I'm just saying it doesn't give you, for someone who's not into that sport, coming into it to play it, there's not much to offer you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you're not like, well, I particularly don't really give a shit if I throw the fucking ball into the hoop. Oh, that's how I win? What else can I do? Lose. Okay. Doesn't really offer me much.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you are someone who grew up watching basketball and you're like, I fucking love basketball. This team's the best. That team sucks. I want to be on the team that fucking wins. I want to do all the basketball shit. It makes sense to like that, but it's
and appreciating the nuance of like how you do things in those sports and whatnot and whatnot.
Right.
You're gonna appreciate that more. But yeah, like at least speaking for myself, when I watch someone, to use basketball as an example, shoot a basket or a hoop or whatever term you want to use, it all looks the same to me. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But someone else is gonna look at their like the way the wrist motion is, or
I
like
don't know what the fuck they're doing.
you know what I mean? Like
I know what you mean for sure.
The way the way they hop up when they shoot and stuff like that, they're gonna be like, oh, that was perfect, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's lost on me. So
Yeah.
Except for when two people who are like 250 pounds, 300 pounds fucking just go boom and fucking hit. I get that. I'm like, those guys fucking hit each other hard. Oh, did you see that play? What play? I just saw two fucking
I just watched a train wreck.
Goliaths fucking slam into each other, and it was crazy. That shit translates to all humans. You're like, that would hurt.
Yeah, I think fighting translates to all humans. So
Sure.
yeah.
Well, I was gonna say like skateboarding is a sport, and I think more people are gonna like look at that who aren't into it and go, "Oh, it's neat." When you see someone do some crazy shit off some railing, because they're putting their fucking their health at risk by doing that shit. And then I thought, well, wait, in football, people just go "Ugh," and fucking die and shit, and you're like, "Ooh, okay, those guys."
No, for sure.
Put their health at risk as well. But anyway, that's a whole other fucking random thing.
Yeah, character progression, I think, is individual character progression, I think, is really important for me, as well as if it lacks any kind of like cosmetic changes, it really puts a damper on the gameplay for me. Like if I put on a piece of gear, like even if it's like a shooter, and I put on like a gun and I add this scope and add this, this magazine cartridge type to it, I want that reflected on my weapon. I don't just want it to be a stat added to the weapon. I want to see that change in it.
Play Modern Warfare. You'll see those stats change.
Shooters scare me.
And then you'll really appreciate it. Like, I got that 2x ACOG, and like I'm gonna mount up on a wall, and I'm gonna get headshots way easier because I'm gonna have less recoil. That's something I can imagine you saying.
Maybe.
You have the freedom to shoot how you want, Chris.
Yeah. Don't confine me.
Well, it's funny too because like I brought up the whole thing with sports earlier about it having its strict rules and one objective, and that's like the opposite of what you've been saying about what makes you addicted to a game, is the idea of doing all these things to unlock certain things to play how you want to play when you want to play, and it's the exact opposite of a sports game.
Chris just doesn't want anyone to tell him how to live his life.
I feel it. I'm the same way.
As for I'm like, please give me something to do. Please.
Try and tell me how to fucking live my life.
You want me to take that brick from here to there? Thank you.
Yeah, show's really good about that. Is there any other genres you're not really into?
Not really.
I mean, aside from competitive stuff, I know you're not really into that, but that's not really a genre.
If it focuses only on me versus everybody else, I'm not going to play it.
You dabble in fighting games a little, though.
I do dabble in fighting games, but mostly play against the AI.
I mean, I'm the same boat in that regard, but that is
like I enjoy Mortal
100%
Kombat because
competitive.
the funky story in it is fun, and the characters are flashing, and the characters you can customize how they look too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say I'm a big Guilty Gear fan. Not saying
Well,
I'm
those
good
characters
at
are
it,
cool
but
looking,
I'm a big fan of the series. But I don't play against
You're
people.
better than average.
Wow, I'm just putting it out there so someone's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know?
Well, you're not one of those fucking random assholes on YouTube who's fighting another random asshole who, like, they're just whittling each other's health down until they're both like this, and then they do the same move over and over and over again, and then one guy finally goes and fucking gets him. You're like, oh my god, I can't believe two humans fight like robots.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're not them,
no.
but you're definitely better than like the average person who would pick up a controller and play a fighting game.
Well, I appreciate that. I suppose I just
Why I'm better than average at shooters. It's okay to know your qualities.
But yeah, it's to go back to like the reasoning for that though. It's kind of weird because it is a purely competitive game. There's just something about fighting games is so mechanical, and I think I kind of enjoy that. So I don't know.
I like the stories and like the Guilty Gear in particular. Like I haven't played a lot of Guilty Gears, but like I dig deep into the lore of all the characters and stuff, and that really appeals to me too. Is if your game doesn't have any lore, I'm not going to play it. There's nothing for me to learn about the world. I'm just not as interested in it.
So you're not going to play Hunt Showdown now?
But it's got some interesting lore about the monsters and how they
true.
exist and how they die and how you can kill them. And
I was reading some of the logs.
Intriguing to me.
Plus, aren't they thinking of adding lore?
Yeah,
So
probably.
See, fucking lore. I love lore.
I want that game to have a good story. It'd be really cool because I think the monster design's really neat. I was walking through the woods and I found I looked over, I'd never seen it before. There's just a head in the tree, and there's a beehive where his head was out of the tree, just out in the woods. I looked over, I was like, what happened here? Why is there so many bees? It's so cool. Such a cool idea of like bee horror. So much weird things out there. Whoever did the monster design in that game had really cool fucking ideas. Which is not something I say lightly because so many games have the most fucking boring and generic ass monsters ever. Holy shit. Think of something cool. Hunt did.
yeah. That's like I'm gonna fuck up his name, but the director who makes weird monsters all the time that was gonna help make Silent Hills.
Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, that guy's got a fucking imagination.
Yeah, he used practical effects too, which is awesome. Except for in that one fucking romantic horror movie he made, had the CGI
Those words
ghost.
should not be together.
Well, I mean, gothic horror's typically romantic. Anyway, that's not addictive at all. I'm feeling repulsed. Anything else you guys want to fucking throw on that?
No, I mean it's pretty long.
This is gonna be a long ass episode.
Yeah, and we were kind of repeating ourselves at this point. So
Keith better be all in and addicted to this episode.
I appreciate the amount of editing so that's gonna have to do because of tech issues.
Yeah, no, I'm not looking forward to that. If this episode is delayed, which it will be, that's the reason. I'm making that up now. That's the reason it's delayed. Yeah. So overall, let us know in the comments. What makes a game addictive to you? What are the specific qualities? I mean, you can throw some genres out there, but what about those genres really make you want to come back and play it? What's the factor that you're just working towards, or not even working towards? Maybe the gameplay. You just fucking love the way it feels. There's no game that feels like it, or all the games in the genre feel like that, and you just love them all. Let me know everything you're thinking about when it comes to addictive games in the comments, and also what kind of games push you away, not necessarily the genre, but what specifically in the game itself is like, oh man, another fucking puzzle, dude. I hate this shit. Or maybe you love them. Let me know everything you think about in the comments below. It's the time again. We're going to be doing our replying to your comments. The way you can be featured on the show is typing in hashtag AskTLG. You put that on your comment anywhere in the beginning, the end, in the middle, whatever. And if I see it, which I will, I will consider it to be on the show. And yeah, so if you don't have your comment read and you're like, God damn it, why didn't they read my fucking comment? Well, now you know.
Gotta put that hashtag in there.
Hashtag
Makes it easier to see.
AskTLG. Yep. Then I will go, well, that's the first one I'm picking. You will straight up, not only will you be considered, you'll be in the front of the line. It's the first ones I read per video. So if you want to be the first one read, you want all the attention, that's how you get it. Is hashtag AskTLG. Okay, so we're going to reflect on the episodes. We didn't do a whole lot of episodes in the last 3 days. I did my Hunt Showdown highlights video. Make sure to go check that out. Yeah, we did fucking Tasty Cast where we talked about New World, where we're talking about MMOs a lot lately, apparently, and May's releases, and we read your comments then. We're going to read your comments now. So we got one from Runty that says, watching and listening to you guys talk about New World has made me consider that maybe my criticisms of the game have been too harsh. Admittedly, I can be a little bit too hardcore in my pro PvP stance, which is partially due to feeling like I don't have a great PvP MMO to play, because yeah, there really isn't any right now. Even after the changes they've made, will still live up to my expectations while also giving people who are not interested the opportunity to play as well. I agree that many MMOs that fail to do so because they are casting too wide of a net and not giving the hardcore players, the ones who will carry the community, in my opinion, enough to hold on to. If New World can do this for PvP and still give PvE-centric players a reason to play, besides maybe enjoying the large-scale PvP on occasion, which often can appeal to any type of player if done correctly, then they may just be able to give life to a dead or dying genre, and that would make me very happy. This is in response to, we talked about New World, and I've actually had conversations with Runty before about MMOs. She, not to speak for her, but she prefers PvP-centric MMOs, and she feels like those are kind of like going away, and people keep making them a little more just like either mixing the waters or making them PvE centric, which, you know, we've talked about. Like, there's people who don't want that PvP though. So we talked about it on the show, and hearing perspectives from you and Chris being people like that. I'm kind of a middle ground person myself. It depends on what game I'm going into and if I'm going to get that experience. Definitely kind of gave her a different perspective, which I think is kind of a cool point of view that you guys were able to give. So you guys have any opinions on what she said?
No, I'm just glad that well, not to say we, but like, you know, myself, for example, didn't come off as like someone who's just like, oh, yo, well, poo-poo on PvP, essentially. Because I don't have an issue with it. I just don't personally enjoy doing it. And then I don't even mind it being in games. I mean, I played World of Warcraft on a PvP server, and though I didn't enjoy those moments, I definitely get the appeal. So, and I actually was kind of bummed to hear when they took it out, because that game had PvE servers, RP servers, PvP server, you know, like they had different servers to go to for your needs. And I think that was a really weird step, but obviously the older a game gets to, they have to appeal more and more to the casual. So, to keep people wanting to play, and then also having that really ridiculous hard content for the core people who want to stick around. It is kind of sad. I agree that you don't see very many PvP MMOs, and that is, I think New World has the potential to be that, because it is missing. But I also, and this is something I haven't seen since Dark Age came out, and we brought it up in that episode, I think there is that potential to have a good PvP scene while also not really affecting the PvE community, and still sharing that world with those people. I hope it works.
Me too. Yeah.
So, and I'm glad, you know, that you were able to see that perspective, and I try as often as I can, at least, to see the perspective. It's competitive.
It's amazing. We talked about this earlier already, but like the amount of people who play MMOs, regardless of if you're a PvP or PvE centric person or something like me who can do both, there's so many different types of people who play these anyway for different reasons. People who are super fucking hardcore, they want to do raids, they want everyone to shut the fuck up and just be on point. And then other people who want to casually just play the game, do their thing.
Yeah.
People who just want to hang out with the guild. People want to do raids but be more chill about it. There's all sorts of people. And then you have people who are going into MMO competitively. They're like, I want to be part of a fucking a group of people. I want to fucking dominate and win. And then there's other people who are like, I don't want anything to do with that. I just want to fucking enjoy the world. And it's so weird how this genre can attract so many fucking people into it that don't have the same ambitions game wise.
Yeah.
Because she's into PvP, you're not really into PvP. You guys both enjoy MMOs.
Oh yeah.
And so, and like for me, you know, if I hop into a PvP centric MMO, I'll play it for that. And if it's a PvE one, I'll play it for that. But if I'm playing one that says it's this and then it fucking tricks you into this, I don't like that.
No, I agree with that 100%.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Transparency is very important.
Yeah. I want to know I'm going into a PvE game or a PvP game. Because
Yeah,
I don't want to put fucking hours into a game and then play PvP I don't enjoy.
Well, specifically with this one, they've definitely, at least IGN, I should say, was very good about making a point that this is a PvP MMO, right? Yeah, I don't know if that's true. That's the IGN's advertisement of the game.
It's been fluctuating though, because there's been a lot of within the community of people waiting for this game to come out. A lot of people complaining about how they're treating PvP. They keep changing it, but I think they're trying to find how to appeal to everybody, because they're going to lose people if it's a PvP game, and they're going to lose people if it's a PvE game.
I hope they find a balance, and I keep bringing it up just because no one has done it since. But I think Dark Age Camelot had a really good sweet spot, because there were just is a big world, but there was the PvP area, which you could do 24 hours a day. You could just be out there doing that, but there was a reward for everybody, and you could literally, shape essentially like the power structure of your faction, by being there. And then the people who didn't want to do that, they were just adventuring, and they got the perks, and they didn't even know why really, unless they decided to go past the border and delve into that world. So
I think it'd be cool if they made an MMO where there was regions of PvP or whatever. Maybe have like the north, or if it was maybe east and west or north and south or whatever, be your questing areas, and then maybe the center can be like no man's land, and like you can go out there and do whatever, but maybe like have like different, because Final Fantasy's got all sorts of different fucking quest markers.
Yeah.
Have ones that are a different color for the PvP zone. So if you want to go out questing in that area, you'll know the quest is for that area, but it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
And maybe have a system that allows a certain amount of quests progress you into the story further, and you can choose to be doing the PvP quests or the PvE quests. That'd be kind of an interesting way to do that, maybe. I'm not a developer.
That is a potential. Yeah, I would say it's really hard, because this is obviously like
spitball.
Like
here.
you said, we're not developers at all.
Yeah.
So like,
although I see some games developers make, and I'm like, bitch, hire me. These are horrible ideas.
there is 100% a balance that can be achieved. I know there can be, and some people had like to. I'm gonna bring up WoW again. WoW had systems that made sense to appeal to all types of gamers. Like how many people used to play? I mean, how many people still play WoW? But how many people used to play WoW?
That wasn't a fluke. Yeah,
that wasn't a fluke. Exactly. They had that large scale appeal. The mentality changed over time. So
for Blizzard in general, yeah.
Well, I didn't want to pick. I wasn't trying to pick. It just there was a design philosophy that switched somewhere.
I'll pick.
So,
and then when someone goes, "Hey, what are you talking about?" I'm like, it's a prank, dude. I'm just joking.
But I think as any, I mean, even like to use an older game, Final Fantasy 11, its design philosophy changed the moment they decided to raise the level cap from 75 to 99, and they lost a lot of people when they did that. So,
yeah, big decisions like that are really make or break.
Yeah.
Chris, thoughts on her seeing your perspective on PvE to PvP? Thoughts on that whole situation? And
as we discussed earlier, I'm always looking to play the game how you want to play the game. So, adding PvE to PvP content based games or PvP to PvE centric games, I always welcome that stuff because it allows people, like I said, to play how you want to play. It's just a matter of how they interact with each other that becomes really important in those games. But I mean, I hope it's everything you want it to be, and that it's everything that anybody else who wants to play the game is going to want it to be, as I can say for any game.
Yeah. It's just I wish someone could find the fucking balance, man. And you kind of said it, WoW did for a while there, but it's just weird that you guys can be like playing Final Fantasy 14 and just sit comfy knowing that you're playing like a PvE centric MMO.
Yeah.
Like you guys, there is PvP, but it's not a PvP MMO.
Well, and they don't put very much. The development is an afterthought.
Well, and I remember years ago you were telling me like there's PvP, but there's not really like anything to it. You just kind of you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a hardcore scene for it, obviously, but it's really small.
There will be, but people don't jump into fucking Final Fantasy 14 looking for that
not a selling
PvP
point.
content. Yeah, it's even people looking for just a normal MMO experience. They're gonna be surprised playing that game because it's more of a single player game almost, but storyline wise, but yeah, it's just so weird that within that genre, like you guys are just sitting there playing 14 and you're like, we're safe here, like we don't have to worry about people coming and ganking us here,
Right?
But then like there's other MMOs where like that less and less now, just like Guild Wars 2, another big MMO right now, or bigger MMO. It has PvP, but you still have to go to it. You got to queue to it. WoW seems to take the Grand Theft Auto system now, which I think is interesting. Which always feels discombobulated to me when I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'm just like, I'm invincible, and people are still trying to drive their cars into me and shit. I'm like, this is awkward. This is completely taking me out of the game. Yeah, isn't there another MMO? But yeah, so there's not really like a hardcore PvP centric MMO, and I feel like if you made the PvP good enough, I mean, people obviously love fucking battle royales.
Well, I say there's two big positives that can come out of that too, besides like just being successful. Competitive games are more popular now, and the second reason, which ties into the first reason, is Twitch viewership or streaming viewership is bigger. I was listening to a guy today even talk about like why Final Fantasy 14, like it has its niche in Twitch, but it never really like jumps up, and it's because straight out of his mouth, and I'll agree, and you've said it before too, it's not like you don't watch people play MMOs, right? You watch the personality or competitive games, right?
Yeah.
WoW has this legacy, and it has, it's kind of like it dug in, so it really early in Twitch's life anyway, so like it has these high numbers, but it's not peaking anymore either. Like it's just where it is, versus like what's usually on the top half the time. It's usually competitive games, right? You make a competitive MMO that's all PvP centric, you're putting something there for people to watch. And I think that's a huge thing that can come from that.
I mean, it's the same mentality as sports. People like to see
Exactly.
people overcome stuff.
So
Otherwise, people are either watching you for your personality, or they're watching you play a game that they enjoyed or they haven't played yet, but they want to play, and they want to see how you react to the scenes and how you enjoy the game that they enjoy, or a game they hate. They want to see you talk shit about it. They want validation. Not saying that negatively, but they're just looking for someone to kind of like feed them their perspective on what they're looking into, essentially. Or maybe they're watching you play a game that they're not gonna pick up, but they're curious about. I mean, Chris watches a lot of people play games he's not gonna play
for sure.
But yeah, the PvP thing though, people do watch that stuff because they want to watch people. I mean, people watch people who are really good for a reason.
Yeah.
They want to see someone just fucking wreck people. It's the same when you're watching MMA and you're watching some dude who's on a streak beating the fuck out of people. You're watching football and this team keeps winning and winning. They're going to the Super Bowl. Are they going to fucking win? It's the same mentality. So, but just thinking about that right now is the prime fucking time to make a PvP centric MMO. Because all the biggest games right now are all competitive.
Yeah, and that was my thought process. Like to bring one out right now, there's a lot of tools in your favor.
Like, can you imagine like a brand new full-fledged MMO with a big open world that has awesome graphics? You could absolutely put out a really good-looking MMO. There already is good-looking ones, and they've been out for years. But make like a modern-looking, really awesome MMO that has a world that has different factions that can fight in different territories, and actually has like actual stakes, almost like Eve or something maybe, but actually like, a physical third-person world or whatever.
It's like the old game Warhammer was a PvP centric MMO.
Oh,
I hear a lot about it. People doing like private servers for it now.
I'm playing it. You should hop on.
There you go.
Let's play. I'm playing a fucking witch hunter. I kept saying
The Winch Hunter.
The Winch Hunter.
Winches.
Which apparently is a stealth class. I picked it because I was like, Saltspire, and then fucking I was told that's a stealth class. I'm like, is it? Saltspire stealth? That way?
How are you stealthy when you're screaming in tinctures?
And tinctures. Ugh, the stench. Yeah, that's not stealthy at all. Can't be walking through a sewer screaming about that
guy's
kind
loud
of
as
shit.
fuck.
Yeah, he's the loudest. That fucking that goddamn. There's the one guy's like "Argh," swinging and stuff, but other than that, like the fucking archer chick you always play, can't hear her.
Brilliant.
Just walk around. She's like, I'm like, what? I'm like, well, tinctures, screaming my ass off. But yeah, I feel like it's weird. This opinion has just dawned on me just by talking about this. But I feel like right now, I don't think it's the best time to be releasing an MMO still. Somebody, if they had a great idea, do it. Like, if you could nail a good MMO right now, you will own the fucking market. You don't have competition outside of the legacy games. But if you wanted to make a PvP-centric MMO and put some elements of the competitive games that exist right now into it and pull some of those people who are already playing those types of games into a world that has progression and they can hang out with their friends socially. Fortnite's doing that in a weird way, though. I feel like I feel like the market's ready for it. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, most of these legacy MMOs are 10 plus years old at this point too.
Yeah,
So
it's fucking
it
crazy.
has been a while.
Yeah. That's when I say the genre is dead. The genre is dead. The games aren't. The genre is. No one's fucking
Making
there's no
them.
new blood.
Yeah.
No one's jumping in going, oh man, I'm gonna make an MMO. They're going, I don't want to lose money.
Yeah.
So let's make Fortnite. Let's make another Fortnite. Let's make Fortnite 3. Let's make Fortnite 8.
Yeah, unfortunately, you need the risk takers to jump start that again. So
Sure.
So Amazon could be them. We'll see.
We'll see, but I played Crucible. Keep it
Different
at that.
development team.
Anything else?
No. Thank you, Runty.
Thank you for the comment, Runty. And then we also got a comment from Awesome Skeleton. This one I kind of want to direct more so at Chris because he's played this game.
Yeah,
But they say, pretty excited for the upcoming DLC content for Mortal Kombat 11 that drops on May 25th. But I think $39.99 is a little too high. I was hoping for $30 DLC, but at least they are giving us free content as well. But if you want the extra continued story plus 3 new characters, it will cost $40. Sad face. Chris?
I understand because spending money is tight these days, and whatnot. But you are getting more story. I don't know how much story you're getting, but you are getting a whole bunch of new story, from my understanding. And 3 characters. I mean, how much was the battle pass? You got 4 characters. It was like.
Is there a battle pass
$20
for
I
Mortal
think it
Kombat?
was. It was a combat pass. Was like $20 if I recall right.
Oh, I never played it. I don't know.
I don't know. But I understand. It's rough spending that much money for what you would consider DLC, but you are getting more story. And
Let me break it down. Do you think $40 is fair for 3 characters and more story? Personally.
I think it is, to be honest.
Okay. Fair.
If it depends on how much story you're getting. If they're getting just like an hour extra story, then no.
Fuck no, dude. I would never spend $40 on that.
This is a hard one for me because
Yeah.
like I have to compare it to other $40 purchases, and guess what?
Expansions.
Guess what a $40 purchase is? That's the expansion money.
Yeah.
Shadowbringers is a 40-hour experience, full story.
$40 is like between AAA and indie developed game too. You could buy a full on game for $40.
Yeah, that's a price point we have to be confident.
Right.
If you're selling DLC at $40. So hopefully, if it is a lot of story and it's a fighting game, so we'll say, I don't know, 5-6 hours maybe, if they can add 5-6 hours of story and 3 characters, because characters take development time. I get that, and a lot of these games will turn around and sell characters for like $10 a pop, right? Which I think is crazy, but it's pretty normal.
Yeah, but well, that's weird though, because $10 for a character, how much hours are you getting out of that $10? A shitload.
That's why I said
Right.
this
Each
is a tough
character-
one.
Each character has in Mortal Kombat, the 11 has so many variations of ways to play that character. You're getting lots of time out of that, and lots of. I mean, you could potentially build different characters for the same character over and over again between
Yeah.
cosmetics and the skills you can choose how that character fights.
Yeah, see, and this is why it throws me off, because like I'm not like in the fighting game scene. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Well,
like,
neither of us own that game.
yeah, and like so it's really hard to like have a personal judgment on what's fair, but comparing to other games, what you get for the same price point, I guess what it comes down to is like, are you going to enjoy all three characters? Is the story going to be good? And are you going to get the $40 worth of investment? And I don't want to throw necessarily a timestamp on that because I don't think that's like the metric you should use.
But it is
a factor.
It is a standard you can compare it to, though.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to bring up like Shadowbringers as an example. It was a 40-hour story,
Which is a full game.
but then it also is adding 2 new jobs to the game, which played completely differently and had to be completely designed. They had to make new armor, new weapons for that stuff. They had to rebalance the rest of the jobs to work with that. With fighting games, you're going to run the same thing. You got 3 new characters. They have to be balanced to fight with the rest of the roster as well. So you have a very similar thing there.
Yeah, see, so either for me, your comparison right here either makes it sound like Mortal Kombat's DLC is way overpriced, or Shadowbringers is just way underpriced.
Well, and that's the hard part to figure out, because what Mortal Kombat's not doing is charging you $15 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. So that's tricky, because like DLC to me, when you start going past 20, $30, you're trying to sell me a game now.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Well, you also take into the factor of your hype level for the content that's being provided.
100%.
Yeah.
And in particular for me, the part of the hype is that one of the characters, Fujin, hasn't been playable for like 10 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So they finally brought him back, and the community's been asking for him for a long time. And so Shiva's one of the playable characters that people really been asking for, because she was playable in a couple of them, and then she just kind of went away for a little while.
Aren't they bringing like RoboCop or some shit?
RoboCop is the guest character as well, and is the DLC pass.
Love it.
But
And those movies are
you
bloody
have to
as
weigh that
fuck,
into
so.
consideration too. Is like the hype of like what you expect for like your character hype, and then like the story reveal hype of the trailer of like, you beat, I don't want to spoil anything, but once you beat the game, I mean, it's been a while since the game came out, but
You
you
can
beat
spoil
the game
it for me
and
all
then
day. I don't give a shit.
beat the game, you fix the timeline supposedly, and then you're basically one of the main villains throughout the series comes back and is like, hey, you fucked up, I'm here to help you, let's go. And like, it's not just him, it's Shang Tsung and Fujin. Like, the Fujin is like Raiden's brother, the protector of Earthrealm, are there and like, hey, we gotta fix this. So it's like this crazy like kind of plot twist to the story.
It's interesting. And this will continue that.
Yeah, it continues. Supposedly, it continues directly after the events of the base game. So
Interesting.
Yeah, it's tricky.
That is tricky, although I really just, my brain is just fucking screaming at me that $40 is too much. Like, all my alarms are going off. It's just like, fuck no, dude, you cannot charge $40 for that. But at the same time, couple things here. I don't own the game. I'm not invested in it.
Exactly.
I haven't beaten it to the point where I want this content. I don't know how much content we're getting from this outside of the 3 characters, which is cool. And we just discussed that I think it's fine to charge $10 for a character in a fighting game, just because when you purchase that, you're buying more play time essentially in the game, because you're going to be playing it more with that character. If there's unlocks for those characters, that's a whole other thing too.
there is.
But at the same time, I'm like, dude, but you could also buy like full-on games for $40. You can buy expansions that will give you whole fucking new experiences, whole new areas. I mean, the expansions for the fucking Witcher were like their own games.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I feel like $30 I think would be like perfect. For me though, when it comes to like DLC and not expansion territory, you can really sell me at 20 and below almost any time, as long as it's not a shit game or shit DLC. If I'm enjoying the game and you're like, this DLC, unless it's like something stupid like a gun for $20, I'll never do that. But being reasonable, the $20 range when it comes to DLC is very understandable for me, depending on what we're getting. But once you go past that, how much are we getting? And then if you go past 30, are we getting a substantial chunk of content? Because you're getting closer to the $60 range.
How much was Iceborne?
30 or $40. Yeah.
That's a whole game.
Yeah. But again, if this story part is like adding
This
hours
is
to
a
the
potential
fucking
chunk
game.
of story. I think that's what the big factor is how big is the additional story content?
If it's like an
you're getting?
hour or two, I can't justify it.
Yeah, I think the hardest. I think the thing here is going to have to be mostly personal investment. Like how much?
100%.
Yeah, how much personal investment do you have in Mortal Kombat? Because you're going to be a little more relaxed on at that point. As someone who's like not into it, I'd wait for it to go on sale.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, I wouldn't. I couldn't spend that.
Yeah. But if you're part of that scene
There's classic
and you're
stages
competitive,
coming back.
you're buying it. Sorry.
Yeah, but if you're super into the game, but at the same time, then though, like, and I'm not shaming anyone who wants to buy this, obviously, but like, it could be viewed as exploitation of your fan base if you're charging really high prices for not a lot of content.
For sure.
But if it's really good content, it's not much, but you're still charging more for it, it's easier to get by that. And I'm not implying that's what they're doing. I'm saying they could do that.
For sure.
Which I would hate to see, because anyone who's they beat the game, they loved it,
And they want
and
more.
then they want more,
Yeah.
and then they're charging $40 for something that really shouldn't be $40. That's you exploiting your fan base because you know they're willing to do it. But if it's worth it, it's worth it. I don't know. It's really hard. I would have to look into see like how much more story they're adding. Again, the 3 characters. If you play all 3 of them, it's going to give you more and more hours of content to play.
Yeah.
But on the same stages.
Nope,
Against
there's new stages.
There's new stages.
They're adding new stages.
I would assume
They're
so
adding-
with the
they're
story.
adding throwbacks from older stages. So like the pit from Mortal Kombat 2, from my understanding,
Yeah.
is being brought back and updated. But there's new stages, there's new characters, there's new story. They're changing some of the mechanics of the game, but that's just kind of a patch overall for all the characters. They're bringing back friendships, but again, that's just
Yeah,
a
I
patch
saw that.
overall.
Which is a whole new feature. I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
not that friendship is new, but these friendships will be new. It's bringing back a fan favorite thing. So there's more and more stuff now that you're.
But that's not part of the $40 thing.
that's not part of the.
That's a
That's not
patch.
part of.
Oh, that's
just
a
part of
patch?
the
Okay, well,
base
never
they're
mind. Fuck
adding.
me.
Yeah,
I thought that was part of it. Like, that makes sense.
No, that's patch.
not to my understanding. No.
Yeah.
So, but the stages thing is more development, and if that's part of the $40, that is still more of the price, and so you are making it more comfortable. Not saying that personally I'm comfortable because I'm not invested in Mortal Kombat.
Well, I mean, are you
but
getting 2/3 of the fucking game that you bought originally for $60?
I mean, probably not, but most DLCs you're not getting a fifth of the game either, though. So
I don't know. I think I'm looking more. I look at it
Yeah,
more
but
of
$40
like
though, you
kind
can
of
buy
like
a fucking DLC chunk that'll be like 40 hours, 20 hours in a game. That's a substantial chunk of fucking
yeah,
content.
I'm looking at it more of like an expansion for Mortal Kombat than I am as a DLC. Because it's even got its own title. It's called Mortal Kombat Aftermath.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna vary. It's gonna.
I just hope that
Basically.
there's enough story there to really
make it worth it.
give you
That's what it comes down to. I think.
not just a quick add-on, but like a new chunk of the game.
Well,
Right.
the other thing too, and that I kind of brought up earlier, and it's kind of important when it comes into pricing things, is like the development cost. New characters are gonna have new voice work, new animations, new math. You know that the development people had to go through for balancing, but that also includes like the story. Mortal Kombat's completely voice acted. Completely, they gotta pay these
Yeah.
people. So,
Actors, all sorts of shit. Yeah.
yeah, a lot to think about on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, I'm not implying the $40 is unfair. I'm just saying it easily could be, and it's. Well, I mean, we're sitting here fucking breaking down, trying to calculate this out because there's no rule set on how much you can charge for DLC or expansions, but there is standards and
And $40
examples
is past the standard.
for sure.
So-
That's what I'm saying. $30, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I'd be like, oh,
Probably
that's
not.
I'm like, that's expensive DLC, but you know, they're adding a whole new chunk to the game. But $40, it's weird. $10 more. You just start getting into this territory of what's expected for $40 and will it meet that?
Yeah.
But it's also a fighting game. Fighting games are fucking weird. They're really an archaic fucking genre from the past that's still around, and that's great. I'm glad that they've had a resurgence because for a while they were kind of dying off.
Yeah.
But the value metric of a fighting game is so much harder to fucking figure out than really any other genre.
That's tricky because
Like if I was spending like $40 on Civ, I
have
would
the
want it to be
same-
a
similar
full
problem, though.
fucking expansion. If it was $40 thing for fucking a racing game, I would expect like 20 fucking cars or some shit.
I would say I have a
new
hard
tracks.
time with like Gran Turismo and Forza though when they're trying to sell cars.
Sure.
I'm like,
Racing games, just like fighting games, are both like
yeah,
relics of the past. That's why Forza Horizon was like, oh, they're actually evolving the genre a bit.
when you get like an actual like chunk of game added with that game.
Well, you get like whole new
specifically.
maps and
yeah,
shit,
which
new activities.
made
It's
it
like,
more
it's
worth
the
it.
same as like a third-person fucking RPG or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they sell, because even Gran Turismo dabbled in it selling car packs, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know if I don't think I'd spend that So,
I've never bought a car pack in a racing game.
so that's really tricky too. So I don't know.
If they release them like expansions, where it's like whole new tracks, new cars, and some new features, I would buy that. But when it's just a car pack, for some reason, I mean, I like cars enough, but I'm not like a huge car guy. So like the idea of like buying a bunch of cars and like some of those I'm not even gonna want to drive
For sure.
but there's just like the one or two in there that I'm really into. But it gets kind of difficult. Whereas like an RPG, an MMO, a fucking action game, those are a lot easier to kind of figure out what I'm comfortable in spending in. And if it's a fucking free to play or an online game, that just really comes down to how much I like that game and what they're offering.
You're an investor at that point, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, am I willing to support this? Like DE for the longest time, I was just buying shit from them all the time because I want to support them.
Yeah. That at that point, you're essentially producer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
Which thank you to all our producers on Patreon. We have a link down below if you'd like to support the channel. We see you. Thank you.
well, Seth sees you, and then he relays it. So,
And we got a couple. They're loved.
wow, I'm not going to disagree with that. So, you're definitely loved.
Chris is like, I don't know. Maybe.
You could be. You might be.
I don't think I have much more to add to this because I can't give you a definitive.
This is a way bigger conversation than I thought we were going to have on this, but I'm all here
I would
for
say
it.
if you're on the fence about it, just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
It'll go on sale for sure.
Oh yeah, or it'll be part. I mean, I bought Tekken 7, right? That's the newest one. Years later, and then they had like the year 1 and 2 stuff as a DLC for like, I think it was like $20. I was like, okay. So, and then I was able to play catch up that way. Obviously, like I said, if you're in the scene and you're trying to be competitive, that's not an option. But
I was getting ready to buy those fucking season 1 costume packs for fucking DOA.
the DOA is a great example of how to be a little predatory when it comes to
With 5.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're doing it with 6, but I almost did it. So I was like, I really like this game. I really like the character designs. They all look really great.
Yeah, which really
They
sucks.
put a
'cause
lot of work into the fucking the
I
way
like
these characters
DOA,
look.
but
DOA 6 fucking dope.
their DLC practices are shady. Anyways,
Chris, you picking it up?
I'll probably wait just because money is tight.
For sure. Yeah. I
and it's
feel
not
that.
going anywhere. You're not playing competitively, so
All right. Well, thank you, Awesome Skeleton, for the conversation. Then we got Keith also saying, WoW has an Iron Man challenge where you try to play the entire game without dying one time. If you die, you have to delete the character. Lol, no thank you.
A Nuzlocke challenge?
wait. So like, it's actually like a hardcore mode in WoW, or is that more like a community like social thing where like it's the Iron Man challenge? Because if it's that, I just wouldn't participate. But the hardcore thing, I made a hardcore character in Diablo 3, and though I played way slower with that character, there was a little bit of a thrill. I kind of get it. So
Not me. Fuck that. I won't do it.
No, thanks.
Not for me.
Yeah,
I mean, I get why somebody would do it. I won't. I'm not wasting that time.
well, and I couldn't do it for very long. Like I'd like get a level or two, and I'd log out.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I just if I die, I lost the character. If I don't die and I get somewhere with that character, the bragging rights aren't worth it to me. Not saying you're looking for
you're
those.
playing Hunt though.
Yeah, but I have an overall progression.
I do with other characters though in Diablo as well. So just not that character. I made that one with the intent of, I'm not going to sit here and grind out legendaries and stuff with this character. I'm just going to see if I can make it to the end. So
Yeah, I'm not putting fucking 20, 30 hours in a character who could just die off.
Yeah,
Plus, I don't brag about if my fucking I'm not trying to get my hunters up to high level just to have them. I sell them, so they're gone. I retire the fuck out of them as soon as they hit a high enough level. So there's an incentive to get them up there. It's like I'm struggling to try and get them to a point where I can get the experience from them. Whereas in that, there's nothing. I'm not gaining anything except for going, fuck yeah, I did it. I just can't do it.
I actually think that's a good evolution of that hardcore system though. I kind of like the thought. I actually hope more people adapt.
Yeah, what if Diablo had that hardcore system, and then however high you get that fucking character, you can exchange that for
Or retire them or whatever.
retire them and get
Yeah.
something for it.
Yeah, I like that idea.
So do I. That's why I play Hunt.
So, well, I'm not playing Hunt, but
You should too.
I'm just saying, like, obviously that game came out more recently, and
Yeah.
that's definitely like a game where hardcore mode is what you're doing. So
Yeah. Except for your overall progression, that just maintains. But yeah,
For sure.
your individual characters, it's like a roguelike. It feels like a roguelike.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking? Oh,
Chris says
Keith.
no.
We're talking about Keith.
we're talking about Keith because I could no.
We talk about Keith now.
Gossip time. Thank you for the comment, Keith.
Thank you.
And then the last comment we got was from when I reacted to the DualSense letting you feel weather. They're saying that in the controller you can actually feel raindrops, which is fucking crazy. And then Mafia Definitive Edition, talked about the details of that. And with that, we got a comment from Agamemnon 2. And they say, the Mafia 2 remaster doesn't look that impressive right now. There seem to be a lot of audio issues with it. So I'm in the wait and see camp for a while. I've already played Mafia 3 on PS Plus. It wasn't the best game, but I had a decent time with it, which seems to be everybody's opinion on Mafia 3. Everyone says that. It's not the best thing. Well, that's fine. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I have the same opinion as you.
Yeah, I even remember and it's funny
It
because
plays fine. It's fun.
I remember there being mechanics in the game. I'm like, oh, I really like certain things about this game. So,
But then you just do the same activities over and over again,
and
over and
over,
over and
yeah.
over and over, and you're like, come on, motherfucker. This could have been great.
I wasn't there for that, and I actually have not seen anything on this. So this is hard for me to comment on outside of that, though.
Audio issues early on with the remaster. I mean, it kind of makes sense to me. Pretty much what they did is they're releasing a trilogy of all 3 Mafia games. Mafia 3 will pretty much be Mafia 3 because it's a newer game. Mafia 2 has been upgraded graphically, which is pretty cool. Mafia 2 already looked fucking great when it first came out, though, specifically on PC. There's a huge difference between console and PC when it came to Mafia 2 when it came out. It got a facelift, and then Mafia 1 is completely remade. So I can't wait to play that because neat. I played the first Mafia and I had played it years after it came out, and it's not Mafia 2. Mafia 2 is fucking fantastic. So to get the original Mafia remade in the Mafia 3 graphics, it's really cool because I'll get to experience that game in a way that will be more fun. It's a brand new game.
Yeah.
Just
that seems interesting to me.
So
I like the idea of those games, and I'm not like
Mafia 2 is great.
Even though I struggle with the genre, there have been some outliers. That like Sleeping Dogs is a great example. I love the shit out of that game.
Yeah, for some reason you played that, beat it, loved it. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it was good. I liked it. I just wasn't expecting you to fucking dig it.
I don't know, but I beat Grand Theft Auto 4 as well. So
that's a weird one.
Yeah,
Did you beat 5?
No, I couldn't. I tried like 3 times. I bought it on Xbox 360. I bought it on PS4 and on PC.
4's a fucking sleeper though, man. Like it came out, everyone loved it, and then it like sat for a little bit, and everybody got pissed at it because the fucking car physics are insane.
They're weird, yeah.
They're heavy. Those cars are fucking heavy. They're
Everything's
all tanks, yeah. And then it just like disappeared. 5 did its thing, and now I keep hearing people talk about 4. Everybody's like, 4 was the great one. That was the masterpiece and shit. And I'm like, storyline wise, yeah, it had a really good story.
I would say there's some scenes I really liked where like Nico was like essentially towards the end of the game where you're like trying to get through. I think it was a warehouse. It's been a long time now, but he's just like screaming at them. Like,
there's a lot of scenes where he's
just freaking out on it basically. It's like about coming after his family or something like that. I don't know, but it was very intense, and I really enjoyed those moments in that game. So I don't know why that game I was able to play, and that's the only Grand Theft Auto I've been able to play. So,
well, I mean, 3 was fun to play, but the story was like whatever. But that was in between the original Grand Theft Autos that were the top-down raid ones and what they did with 4. So that was them starting a revolution in fucking open-world gaming, essentially, single-handedly. Yeah, audio issues. That sucks. Kind of expected, specifically when you are remastering a game that already existed before and you're changing some things about it. They'll fix it. I'm sure they fixed it by now already, hopefully. But yeah, I actually plan on buying this trilogy when it's fully released. Mafia 1's not out yet, so when you buy the trilogy, you get 2 and 3, but you have to wait for 1 to come out, or you can buy them individually, I think.
Kind of reminds me of that Master Chief Collection.
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. I would love to. I mean, I beat Mafia 2, and I was like, I'll never play that again, but it was great. because it ends very it's a very linear. It's an open world game, but like the story goes through seasons and events happen that changes everything and how it happens. And once you beat it, it's over. So it's actually a very linear open world game. It's weird, but the story's really good. But when I beat him, like I was like watching a movie, I'm like, oh, it was really good, and I was like done with it. I didn't go back into the open world to explore. There's not really anything to explore. That's something that those guys need to work on, because Mafia 3 has the same problem. But with the facelift on it, I feel like I could go back and maybe play it from the beginning again. But Mafia 1's the one I'm really excited about.
Cool.
Chris, any thoughts on Mafia?
I haven't really played much of them other than when we had for Plus Club. But I'm excited for people who really enjoy the series, and it feels like this is like the year of remakes and remasters.
Yeah. Last question. Have you ever been in the Mafia? You allowed to talk about that?
Hey, I gotta go.
All right. Thank you for the comment. Agamemnon 2. Every time I'm like, hold on. Let me sound this out real quick.
Agumon.
I wanted Agamemnon.
I know that name. What is that name from?
I know it too, and I can't recognize it, but I recognize it, but I don't know where it's from. But yeah, thank you for the comment, and thank you everybody who commented again. Remember, if you want to be considered to be talked at on the show, type in hashtag AskTLG. We'll give you extra consideration. But that's going to do it for this episode. It's a very long and fucking broken episode of Taste the Cast on Taste of Gaming. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this episode. Make sure to check out our other episodes. Check us out on Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Taste of Gaming. Check out our streams. Links down below. We have a Discord link down below as well. You can talk to us anytime, all the time. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and other podcast platforms if you prefer to listen to us. And yeah, my name's Seth.
I'm Chevy.
And I'm Chris.
Until next episode, have a good week, guys. Hopefully you had a good Memorial Day, and take it easy.